I have to do my job. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it again. Sorry. You know, I got accustomed to not that, but that's a choice.
Good morning.
That's what I got accustomed to. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in the Rob Brown Radio program. Starts now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello to you. And how do you do? Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What's up, world? Great to be with you. Happy Monday. Happy April 1st. The new year. Month. I'm tired. It's not even that I'm tired. It's that I had an outright panic attack to start the day, and I'm still relatively, as the kids say, discombobulated, recovering.
You're like going straight up diesel cam this morning. Why is that all close? And
I don't know how it's good. Like, this is what it normally is, but like, you know, we've made choices.
Yeah, choices to not show, what shirts we're wearing, because all you can see is basically your neck.
Well, this is where it's been. Pawpaw Diesel does like to boomer cam it,
I will also say it's amazing to finally get to work with grown up Cameron from Ferris Bueller. The hat, just it's you're grown up Cameron. So.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Pass the vibe check, I believe is how the kids say it.
Do they really? Yeah, should I look that up?
There's a vibe check. You got to pass the vibe check. I pass the vibe check every day. Hello.
Nope.
My dear friends, it is ever so wonderful to be with you today. My name is Rob Brown. The other seductive voice you hear this AM is the guy that is in charge of not just this, but every radio program that you've ever enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy it, he didn't do it. He is the great one, Lonzo.
Vibe check is a phrase used on social media to inquire about or assess the general atmosphere or mood of a person, group, or situation.
Yeah, vibe check.
It's a lighthearted way of checking in on someone's emotional state or evaluating the overall energy or vibes in a particular context. Wow. I have learned something this morning on April. It's not an April Fool's joke. It's actually a thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. The vibe check is where everybody puts off vibes. All right, people have been saying vibes since the Beach Boys were popular. And now it's just like we got to check the vibes. If you walk in a room and there's a bunch of people and they're all like, it's bad vibes. They don't pass the vibe check.
See, what I do on Saturday is we go out to eat so I can check everyone's, do a vibe check so I can see, okay, who do I need to pump up? Who do I need to bring down? Who do I need to get, where they need to be before we
people down.
Well, yes. That's what I do because, everything is psychology.
Vibe check. So you've been doing vibe checks your whole life. You just didn't know it. Every time you walk, every time you're about to go into a gas station at 4:45 in the morning, you do your recon of the place. Like, is this sketch?
I call that social awareness.
That's a vibe check.
Okay. All right.
It's a vibe check. We just got me and the youngsters just got new terminology for it. That's all.
You youngins.
Us youngins. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. What a show we got lined up for you today on a Monday. So that we can get the programming note out of the way, will not be here tomorrow. Off tomorrow. I believe we'll be running CBS Sports Radio for you in the window.
We will. Sorry.
I will be out tomorrow. Why, you ask? Well, it is because after work today, I'll be getting in the rig and headed up to Charlotte, North Carolina. That's Flair country, baby. Tonight, we'll be going to see not LaMelo Ball, who has shut it down for the season with an injury to his ankle, but I will be going to see the rest of the Charlotte Hornets this evening.
Is LaMelo there on the bench, though? So you could actually see him. You just won't get to see him play.
Okay, that's not what that phrase means. If I'm going to see LaMelo Ball, I don't want to go look at him sitting in a chair. I want to go watch my dude ball out. And I don't get to see that.
He might be wearing something that you may go, I would look good in that.
That's not balling out. I want to see him ball him out.
Well, that's not what you said. You said you.
Let me put it this way.
See him.
One of the most aggravating things in the world of sports today is that we've gotten to a point that for some damn reason, every time an athlete walks into a building, we've got to do a fit check, which is like a vibe check, except it's clothes. And I got to tell you, I don't care. I don't care. Like, it drives me, and I understand why they do it.
Like you don't walk in the studio like it's the catwalk every day. I mean, come on.
I don't. I just look this good effortlessly. I don't need everybody to, like, I walk in the room, people know in my hockey jersey again. The point here is when I turn it on, it's like even in the NFL Sundays now, they're like, all right, before we send it down to the field, first on-field analysis, let's go check out Jordan Love's fit check. I don't need it. He wore a suit, I hope. And if he didn't, he wore something flashy. Like, I don't care what he wore.
So you want everyone to dress like Jason Kelsey when they show up?
I want you all to dress however the hell you want to dress. What I'm saying is I don't care what that looks like. Go to the field and let's talk football. Then it is the one time where I turn into stick to sports guy. I'm not stick to sports guy. I've never been stick to sports guy, much to the chagrin of many listeners in many regions around America. I've never been stick to sports guy, but
not down with that. We got 2 words for ya.
I morph into stick to sports guy before every game. It happened last night. I tuned in last night to a couple of different NBA games. I was watching the Dodgers and the Cardinals on one TV. I had the NBA going on the other, and I tuned in to to a stream of the Lakers game before LeBron went 40 points on 9 of 10 from deep. Heat check. There's another check you got to know about, the heat check.
Nope.
Tuned in, and they're like, here's LeBron rolling up to the stadium. Let's get the fit check. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care then. I don't care now. I've never cared. I don't want to care. Stop. It's not, I don't need the fit check. I don't want the fit check. Just play back. Okay. That's enough of that. So what were we talking about? What was I about to say?
But if you are a clothing place and you would like to sponsor the show, we'll do a fit check every day, every hour, right here on the stream.
You want to put Rob Brown, you want to put the great one Lonzo into a suit and tie in the AM and dud us up a little bit? Sure. We'll do it. We'll do an online segment called Fit Check where the great one and I roll up in every day in the fresh kicks, in the fresh threads. But that's the only way I'm doing it. When they show LeBron, they don't go, and LeBron is wearing so-and-so from this store. They just go, look at that suit. Yeah, no, he's rich. He should have fun clothes. That's how being rich works. Eventually, you get to a point where you have so much money that you can buy dumb things like that shirt. Anyway, why are we talking? I had something I wanted to talk about.
I don't know why you're just riffing, dude. It's all right.
I know, but I had a thing I wanted to, and then we got to the fit check. I don't.
You've decided that this morning's hour is sponsored by the Urban Dictionary, and you're letting everybody know what stuff means. I mean,
dude, do you want to know what's going on the streets, or don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
Because I may be out there someday, and I want to survive. So.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so going to watch Charlotte tonight. There we go. We'll bring it around eventually. I will be up in Charlotte tonight going to watch the Charlotte Hornets do battle with Mikal Bridges and the Brooklyn Nets.
Are you sure they're actually going to do battle? I mean, they haven't been playing very well.
They're going to do battle, but it's going to be like LARP in the park with Nerf swords and stuff, Like, it's real cool if you're into that. But if you're not into that, you're just like, what are these dorks doing? So.
Wow. I would like to say that I'm a great supporter of the LARPing community, and I don't know why Rob's coming at you like that.
I'm not. What I say coming at you? There's two sides. Either you're into it or they're dorks. One or the other. No one has ever seen dudes LARPing in the park and been like, I'm not into it, but those dudes seem real cool. They just haven't. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Live your best life. Do the damn thing. Who cares what other people think? Go LARP away. Again, I play Dungeons and Dragons for fun. I get it. I'm just saying that's just how that works. All right, so going to see Charlotte tonight. Tomorrow morning will be off because I, along with a couple of the boys, will be over at Spire Motorsports, getting a tour of a NASCAR garage, getting to go under the hood with our boy Corey LaJoy.
You know what? I should just throw the stream up and just sit here in the thinker pose for 4 hours.
I mean, we'll probably set record highs of viewership.
I'll still be in here.
What's that guy doing?
I mean, I'll just stare at the screen for 4 hours. I can do that.
So, no show tomorrow, but do follow me across social media because I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to do anything from the Spire Garage. Top secret stuff. Top secret stuff. We got race winning gear in there. I don't know if I'll be able to do anything in the Spire Garage, but if I can, I'll do it on social media. If not, then I'll do something afterwards to talk about it. Though I do have to be back here by 3:00 because I will be hosting a show on BetQL that afternoon. So even my day off, I'm working. You're welcome.
So you're getting paid though.
Yeah, for sure.
So why are you complaining?
Because it was a day off and now it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not, but it is, but it's not, I would rather do the show here just so we're clear, but the options were leave an NBA game at midnight, drive 2 hours back to Greenville, fall asleep for an hour to then get up and do a show, or tour a NASCAR garage VIP style. One of those seemed like it was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime deal. So I'm doing that one. We got a lot.
You're also making connections and things like that with, with celebrities and people who own local things, and you're doing your thing, man. Yeah,
for sure. That's why I said yes.
But
definitely not because they went, hey, Rob Brown, do you want a VIP behind the scenes in a NASCAR garage and just be a dork for a couple of hours? Yes, I do.
Are you, and this is going to sound real 80s, are you rolling up fresh? I mean, what's the kit going to look like?
You know it. I'm going to get the new fit today. Soon as the show's over, it'll be upload audio, upload the promos, and then it's going to be hit the mall on the way home to figure out what I'm rolling into the NASCAR garage with. See, because the thing is...
So you could go to the mall and find stuff to wear to NASCAR.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, all right.
I got to tell you, as much
as...
Have
been to the mall
As
lately?
much as mall culture is going downhill, that mall's not bad.
It's not.
It's not bad.
I haven't been there in a few months. But
I have been to some sad malls across America. That's not one. So, yeah. And it's in the fun part.
They need to put a big and tall section into every store, but other than that, yeah.
No, we just need to get less big.
Well,
more tall.
I can't get shorter.
The interesting thing is going to be, how do you thread the needle between guy trying to pass the fit check, but also trying to fit into a NASCAR garage? Because there's a keyhole window there, right? Because if you go too far to one side, you got dudes like Corey going, what an absolute poser this guy is. And if you go too far to the other side, you got people that go, my man's going behind the scenes, and that's what he showed up in.
Just find you a Dale Earnhardt hat, which you probably already have. Run over it a couple times with your vehicle, make it look a little more ratty, and then you're good.
Bro, the hats are the one thing I don't need help with. I got hats that run the entire ceiling around the bro cave.
I know, I've seen it.
Hats are no problem.
I just don't recall seeing, one of those.
Do you go flannel over t-shirt? I'll tell you what I'm going to go try to find.
You do know it's going to be like 85 degrees tomorrow, right?
So do I go like
I don't know. I don't know about Charlotte. It might be a little cooler there, but I doubt it. So.
I don't know. Here's what I know. I know I roll up in there tomorrow.
Wife beater. Dale Jr. hat.
Hell yeah. Wait, sorry. Hang on. I got this one.
Hell yeah.
I got a new Chuck one, by the way.
I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot.
That's a good one. That's a good drop. Thanks, Chuck.
I would go with toothpick and some cut off jorts.
See, this is the problem.
And some high tops.
You're going too far, trying too hard. You're trying too hard. I get the...
No, that's Rob hanging in Pickens on a Saturday night to me.
Hell yeah!
All right, we got a show lined up for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Texture said you definitely go Corey LaJoy t-shirt. See, I think that's too on the nose.
That's fanboy. I don't
think
know.
you're right. I think that's too on the nose. That's like showing up to a band concert wearing the band t-shirt. I don't know why it's against the rules, but it is.
As far as that stuff goes, I don't care. I mean, throw me out. But you could just show up and go, hey, Corey, can you show me? Can you sign my shirt?
You remember that time?
Can you sign my shirt right here?
You remember that time you came on the show? That was awesome.
Could you say, my friend Big Daddy?
Yeah, I think
Daddy, how you doing?
I think the key for me, and I should have thought about this because this is what I should have done last week. And it's one of those, you know how sometimes you don't think about stuff till day of, and then you're like, oh, this is what I should have last week when I had time. The key for me, woulda, coulda, shoulda been, go find an old vintage Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt t-shirt. The thing is, I don't know where to go get a Dale Earnhardt senior t-shirt on demand.
Come on. There are certain counties in South Carolina, everyone has those. They were handed down from
I don't know where to get
from
one
Diddy to kid.
I have effectively from around 11 a.m. until I leave here to go to Charlotte at 2. I got about 3 hours. Where do I find a Dale Earnhardt senior t-shirt in 3 hours?
I believe there is a man cave still in the mall, and they had that kind of stuff there.
There is, but I don't recall seeing a NASCAR t-shirt.
Yeah,
I'll go check.
I'm pretty sure you could go online and look and see if they have them. But,
I'll go check because I think that's the move. I think the move is a vintage NASCAR t-shirt underneath a bigger shirt. And then I'll probably, I may even pick, I've never said this sentence before, but for the sake of the fit check, I may even pick up a pair of Jordans that match the shirt. That might be what the last bonus goes to.
So you got that kind of money? I mean, good for you.
I mean, how many times are you rolling backstage at a garage? Who knows? Who knows what comes of this? So maybe we get a NASCAR pod off the ground with the help of one Corey LaJoy.
You guys have fun with that. I mean, that would be awesome. I won't listen, but I'm sure to be excellent.
Texter said, I have a Budweiser racing polo that is fresh. That's what I wear. Where does one pick up a Budweiser racing polo? Because I will tell you right now, yeah, I'd 100% wear that. I would 100% wear that.
And I'm going to drink a lot of beer tonight, Jim. Budweiser.
Big Budweiser guy. 100%. Texas said, Rob, Clemson Tigers losing was the best thing that happened all weekend. Don't forget that. I guess that depends on who you ask. Nolan showed up in the stream. No, look at that. Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan's in the stream. How about that?
Yeah, he's been there before. Big
he
fan.
Said Clemson L. That's it. That's what he brought. The comment of the day, Clemson L. Quick question to the two of you. When's your team get bounced from the tournament? I'm trying to remember.
That's Clemson defensive over there. It's like, I mean, you're wearing a Carolina shirt and then you're defending Clemson. That's weird.
What I'm saying is people need to recognize and realize when and when not to run smack.
There can be only one, and Clemson is not it.
I mean, sure. Neither are you. How's that smack talk?
Yeah,
that's not smack.
You still both lost. I mean, it still comes down to that. Whether you got bounced in the first round or got bounced in the Elite Eight, you still lost.
But I'm saying
you're still at home right now.
Dancing on a grave that's 2 weeks fresher than yours.
We lost later. Ha ha. Yeah, you're still a loser.
Yeah,
you're still a loser. I mean,
that is the mark of somebody who got bounced early from the tournament. That's the phrase of somebody who got bounced early from the show.
We've said many times. There can be only one. No. You have to hesitate.
I thought you were about to give me something really philosophical right there.
Well, there can be only one. It's very philosophical. Thank you, Highlander.
Nolan said, I'm more of a women's basketball fan anyway. I bet you are.
I don't know if you knew this, but the South Carolina women's basketball team's undefeated.
I sure do know that.
They had a couple scares, especially, I think it was Friday. Was it Friday?
It was.
Yeah,
that was Indiana when they were up like 27, and then it ended at 5.
That was scary.
Not as much of a scare yesterday against Oregon State. They just kind of felt like built the lead, kept it consistent. I'm going to tell you right now, though, As much as we've lauded, and deservedly so, Camila Cardoso for her play this year, because she gets like 97 rebounds a game. Reagan Beers, who played for Oregon State.
She is mean. She is mean looking. She is.
Bro, with that mask?
Yeah, I mean, they showed a picture of her without the mask. She doesn't not intimidating without the mask, even though she's burly. I don't know. I mean, how else do you describe? She's not fat. She's burly.
No one cared who I was until I put on the mask. Reagan Beers. And I tweeted this out yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to watch that game, dude, it was good. Reagan Beers plays the post position like she wrote the damn textbook on it.
Yeah, but
just violent underneath the glass.
They kept showing her brothers and her dad, and all I could think of was that family on Andy Griffith that never talked, but they played music.
What a oh, dude, Zoe, you're dating yourself with that reference.
No, I know my audience.
You're
or our audience. Dude, Mayberry's up the road. Come on.
Oh, come on, Stone Cold. All right, we got to run to a break. Coming up on the show today, we will talk about that Final Four appearance by the South Carolina women's basketball team after Dawn Staley and the gals get a dub over the Beavers of Oregon State yesterday. We are also going to talk about the demise of Clemson's season, a pretty good one, making a run all the way to the Elite Eight, but ultimately bounced from the tournament a step before the Final Four. We're going to talk about that, but there is a Cinderella for whom the glass slipper may just fit, and his name is DJ Burns. Yeah! Who racked up 29 as the 11 seed North Carolina State became America's sweethearts yesterday by bouncing Duke from the tournament as well. A lot of basketball on the show today. Plus, I heard somebody on a nationally syndicated radio show yesterday say that JJ McCarthy deserves a top 5 pick in the NFL draft.
Were you listening to Mark Ryan on Saturdays again?
I don't know.
Mark Ryan officially in Michigan now.
Big Michigan guy. Big Michigan guy. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Oh, good morning, everybody. How we doing? All right, 30 seconds. BRB. Then it's showtime.
I'm trying to remember the name of that band without looking it up. I know Uncle Jesse was the dad. I mean, I remember Ernest T, because who doesn't remember Ernest T? I guess people who haven't seen Andy Griffith, but
Trying to remember the name of the band.
the band on Andy Griffith. They were a good band. Bluegrass, if I recall. Andy would sing with them on occasion.
Another show I could not.
The daughter was supposedly sweet on Andy, but Ernest T would threw bricks through windows because he wanted to be with her.
If we're power ranking television bands, like bands from TV shows, tell me why Uncle Jesse and the Rippers aren't number one.
Because Pinky Tuscadero exists.
Pinky Tuscadero? I don't know what that's from.
Happy Days.
No. I don't know. Well, I don't even know. Listen, I love Happy Days, but no band from Happy Days is going above.
I believe it was actually Joan Jett. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was Pinky. It was her niece. Leather Tuscadero. Susie Quattro. That's it. What was the name of that band? So you can automatically say, well, no, this band was better when you haven't heard that band. I mean, you can't do that.
The band's from Happy Days up against Uncle Jesse and the Rippers.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a ton of bands better than them. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that there are better ones. I mean, the Jonas Brothers, aren't they a band?
Still taking Uncle Jesse and the Rippers. All right, I typed in just because I was curious. Here are the top TV bands.
According to who?
As referenced on the internet and Googled, compiled by AI. The Archies, Death Clock, the Rudels, the Folksmen, the Zit Remedy, Drive Shaft, Josie and the Pussycats, together with the number 2. Nope. Uncle Jesse and the Rippers is going to number 2. The Hex Girls are going to number 1. I'm power ranking the Hex Girls above everybody else.
Hex Girls.
From Scooby-Doo. The Hex Girls were a goth girl band.
I don't remember that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
The goth girls, the Hex Girls was an awakening for a lot of us in the early 90s.
Wow.
The Partridge Family, the Blues Brothers. If we're going all fiction, but this is adding movies to the list.
Well, Blues Brothers were on TV because they were on Saturday Night Live.
You should be watching the stream.
Well, we're arguing about music, and then I didn't play the music.
Yeah, that was an opportunity. You should join us on the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube and the Rob Brown Show on YouTube and Twitch. During the break, we got into, for reasons I can't particularly remember or explain, the best fictional bands of all time, bands from television and bands from movies.
Because I was talking about the band from Andy Griffith.
That's it.
That's what brought it up. Yeah.
So we are going with the best bands from TV and music. And now I want you to text me your answer. What is the best fictional band? We've got the Partridge Family, the Blues Brothers. We've got Eddie and the Cruisers. Spinal Tap's got to be on that list. The Beats from Doug. Maybe a little after Lonzo's time.
Yeah, maybe a lot after. I don't think my kids.
Killer Tofu.
Wow.
Banger.
Wow.
Crucial Taunt.
Yeah.
From Wayne's World, dude. Stillwater from Almost Famous. Good
There we
one.
go. There we go. Stillwater.
Josie and the Pussycats. Pink Slip. The Cheetah Girls. And I mentioned to Lonzo, and here's one that I'm going to need those of you that are more in my age demographic to help me out with. But
you still old. I mean, yeah, I'm older, but you still old.
That's why I didn't say from the young demographic.
Okay, all right.
I said from my demographic. The Hex Girls. How many of you remember the Hex Girls? The Hex Girls were a goth chick band from the Scooby-Doo movies of the early 90s. Actually, maybe late 90s. But the Hex Girls. Way up on that list.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. They're attractive vampire women.
Yes, they are.
They are. Yeah.
They were a bit of an away. They were the Rhea Ripley of the day. It is what it is. Love Handle from Phineas and Ferb has just gotten a text.
Oh, there we go. Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, I know Phineas and
Ferb.
I don't know Hex Girls, but I know Phineas.
Texter said The Wonders. That's a great pick. Texter said Jesse and the Rippers. Of course. They were my initial number 1 until I remembered the Hex Girls. Jesse and the Rippers goes up top. Sex Bob-omb from Scott Pilgrim.
There we
That's
go.
a great pick.
Yes. Even though it was just Beck, but still.
It doesn't matter. It was good. So anyway, text 71307. Start your text with fan. Your best fictional band in movie or television history. Just because I'm curious, and that's what I want to do right now. Best fictional band texted 71307. Start your text with fan, F-A-N. NC State on the men's side on their way to the Final freaking Four by winning 5 games in the ACC tournament, a game in the round of 64, 32, 16, and 8. That is 9 consecutive wins for DJ Burns, DJ Horn, and the NC State DJ Pack. I don't know. if there are y'all out there like me that just love a good story in sports. But man, DJ Burns has been fun to watch break out. 29 points in a winning effort against or in their victory yesterday against the Duke Blue Devils, a team that was favored by almost double-digit points. But DJ Burns drops 29, and they bump the Blue Devils out of the tournament. That was the first game in this tournament I picked against NC State. I thought John Shire had built a really well-rounded Duke team. But the DJ to DJ connection was just too much. It was just too much. And you add on top of that Duke couldn't hit a shot to save their lives in that game. And you end up with the result that a guy that was expected to get canned at the end of this year, and Kevin Keats, head coach of the Wolfpack, now has his team playing against Purdue for a Final Four. And by the way, if there is a big man left in this tournament that can at least slow down Zach Edey, the center for Purdue, who got 40 in the Boilermakers win over Tennessee, a 40 that they needed, to get on. It's DJ, because the dude is just a Goliath in a jersey, man. He's a bulldozer. You can't deny the guy at this point. He has carried NC State to this point. DJ Horn is a great player on the outside, and the two of them together are a dynamic 1-2. But if Burns gets going in the middle, that offense opens up. You hear me talk about playing basketball inside out or outside in. Does your offense go from guards to the big man or big man to the guards? I will always prefer a team that plays offense from the inside out, that plays offense from the center position outwards, that plays offense from the post out to the guards. Guards bring it up, get it inside, and then collapse a defense to give your guys on the outside room to work. LeBron said this weekend or last week, I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was a great call. He said, the biggest problem that I have with young ballers nowadays is that they all think basketball is a one-on-one game. There's 5 guys out there playing one-on-one, and he's spot on accurate. I have, and at some point would like to get back into coaching youth ball. And one of the things that even 6-7 years ago, the last time I was coaching at that youth level, one of the things that used to drive me nuts was trying to teach the team aspect of basketball, because it's gotten to a point where there are a ton of kids who believe that basketball is 5 one-on-one matchups happening at any given time. And yes, there is an element to individual basketball. I don't want you to be a robot. Just because the offensive game plan says start here, move here, pick there, roll there, that doesn't mean that if you start moving from A to B and you recognize your defender has come off ball or moved out of the passing lane, I don't want you to roll to it. And just because you have the ball, just because the play call, the scheme says for you to pass it over to X, if you see Y flash open, get him the rock. But that's why I love this NC State team. Because they are playing good schematic basketball, but they're letting the guys work when they get the space. And DJ Burns might be the perfect illustration of that. DJ Burns is a cat that runs the set offense, but when you get out of position, he uses that big old sturdy body to generate space underneath the basket and make something happen. And I love watching the guy play. He's on a different level. This is a transfer into NC State from a couple of years ago. He's a guy that was overlooked because of his size and shape. He ain't exactly the most athletic-looking big dog in the world. But he's done everything right under the basket. He gets your second chance opportunities. He scores down low with great consistency. When he gets the ball and he realizes he's drawing a double team, he's going to kick it out to the open guy. This dude went from a guy that a month and a half ago we weren't talking about. No one was talking. Why would you be talking about DJ Burns? The Wolfpack were going to fire Kevin Keats at the end of this year because of a disastrous season. Now they're in the damn Final Four. And he's a big reason. And like I said, I'm going to give a ton of credit to DJ Horn and the rest of the NC State guards on the outside, because these dudes are balling out right now. But they are balling out because of what they can do in the middle around the big man, around DJ Burns. 29 points in that game. Let me tell you what else is wild. And this is why NC State won the game. NC State won the game. They played with everything. Everything Duke was doing, NC State was able to match. Duke ended the game with 11 assists. NC State ended with 16. Duke ended with 4 steals. The Wolfpack ended with 4 steals. Duke ended with 5 blocks. NC State ended with 6. Duke ended with 9 turnovers. NC State with 5. Duke ended with 41 rebounds. NC State ended with 39. Where did NC State win this game? NC State won this game at the 3-point line, where Duke went 5 of 20. NC State went 3 of 13. 9 points on 3-pointers. Out of 76, 9 points came on threes. And it wasn't because NC State's not a team adverse to shooting a three. They ended with 9 threes because they realized early in that game that, number one, and this is a hard thing for shooters to get in their head because shooters shoot, right? Number one, they recognized and they realized that the ball wasn't going in the net. The ball wasn't finding the bottom of the basket. And sometimes you just got to recognize we're off. We're off. Because there's all kinds of factors that can go into that. The rim might be a 1/4 inch lower than it is in your gym. Maybe your depth perception's off because you're playing in a big, wide open arena as opposed to your home gym that you're used to. There's any of a billion reasons why it is that your shots just aren't falling. And sometimes you got to make a choice. Yes, shooters shoot. And yes, the only way to find the hot hand is to keep lifting shots until somebody knocks one in and the lid comes off. But NC State saw the shots weren't falling, and they saw that they were able to beat Duke from the inside out. And more often than not, that was under the glass points or it was mid-range jumpers. So they took what the game was giving them. They ended up going 47% from the floor compared to Duke's 32% and 5 of 20 from 3. Now, of course, do have to keep in mind that late in that game, when you were down inside the last couple of minutes and the Wolfpack had built up a lead, Duke was starting to lift long-range contested threes, and that created a bit of a problem for it. But NC State put them in that position. NC State created that necessity for Duke, and Duke didn't have an answer for it. I freaking love this team, dude. Like, Purdue's going to win this game. Purdue's going to knock them out in the Final Four, and the glass slipper will finally shatter around the feet of the Wolfpack. I got to tell you, it's going to be hard for me not to root for NC State. At this point, I don't necessarily have a rooting interest outside of whoever wins the championship. I just hope it busts up some brackets so that I at least look like a respectable finish in the Rob Brown Show Bracket Pool Challenge. Because right now, the best I can do is like 70th out of 140, some odd.
I'm going to root for Purdue just because my son picked them to win in his first bracket ever. So
First bracket ever?
Yeah.
You didn't invite him in any brackets before this, Alonzo?
We're not basketball people like that, not college basketball. He's into NBA because that's where real basketball players play. But, there's that. I do not force children to like things I like.
I didn't say you to force them to like basketball. Yeah. I'm saying you didn't let them into a bracket contest. Fiance doesn't like basketball, but she's absolutely joining every bracket contest.
I don't.
Bracket contest.
By the way,
best times
as
of the
far
year.
as our bracket contests are, he's not eligible.
Our bracket contests are just for fun.
Doesn't matter. There's a prize at the end, which makes him ineligible.
That's
because
true. I can just invite Pappy on the air.
You could do that, but at the same time, he cannot enter. My children can't enter because I work here and I follow the rules.
Fine. I'm just going to invite Pappy, open air invite. Come on in anytime. Talk basketball with me.
He ain't up yet.
So I'm listen, once my bracket is busted, and my bracket was busted in round 1 when a bunch of nerds knocked out my national champions. Once my bracket is busted, ordinarily, I'm not the guy that picks a team. Like, I don't pick a team unless there's a St. Peter's or somebody. NC State, I'm going to have a hard time not openly rooting for at this point. I love this team. I love the way they ball. I love the DJ to GJ. I love that they just got a big old sturdy classic 5-man in the middle. All right. Speaking of basketball, Jesse popped on the stream, said, I haven't really been a part of the basketball talk during the tournament, but I feel like Clemson exceeded expectations, and I can't be mad at the loss. I feel like if you can put up 80 points in college, you normally win the game. Great run. Thumbs up emoji. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Jesse. When we come back in just a minute, let's talk about it. It's a little early for a full-on post-mortem of the basketball season for the Clemson Tigers, but we can certainly talk about the exit and what this season ended up meaning. We will do that when we return. My name is Rob Brown. The great one Lonzo is on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. There's a big duck in the parking lot. All right, guys, pardon me for 45 seconds. Not even. Be right back. Thank you for hanging in there, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to everybody.
I'm Bill Brooks. Here's what's going on the road. As I wear my smoking jacket and look into the satellites, the magic TV box. Still Dragon's a good choice, Jesse. Rob could go be the lead singer of Still Dragon. He's got to put the wig on. Jennifer Aniston was in that movie. So my granddaughter's father's been teaching her how to do MMA stuff, including leg kicks. Ask me.
So please tell me.
Ask me how I know.
Chopping you down.
Well, so we play with pool noodles like we're fighting, and she'll do a spin move, and I tell her she's not allowed to do special moves. They've also been watching Dragon Ball, and I was like, "What would you name your special move?" And she said, "Spinning kick," and then she kicked me. On the bone on the front of the calf, whatever. What is that? It's not your femur. What is this? What is right here? I don't know.
Tibia.
Yeah, it hurts.
Tibia.
This is like days ago. It was a good kick, though.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. We asked for your favorite fictional band from television or movies. Texter said, how about Powerline from a Goofy movie or the Zack Attack from Saved by the Bell? A couple of classics for the 90s kids.
Love Powerline. Looking
Dun,
to each
dun, dun.
other's heart.
Dun, dun, dun. And then Zack Attack. Listen. Zach Morris was a bad person. All right? Zach was just a bad person. But
are you generally a bad
band
person
rocks.
if you could break the fourth wall?
I mean, if you listen, I will say Zach could have absolutely used his power to freeze time for much more evil than he did, aside from manipulating every woman in his life, you know? Could have been way worse. Still not great.
So you're saying if you had that power, you never would have used it?
Not for evil.
No,
I
okay.
didn't say I wouldn't have used it.
As
but
they
not for evil.
all say in the beginning.
Not for evil.
But then it goes to
Friends forever. All right. Clemson gets bounced from the Elite Eight by Nate Oates and his Alabama Crimson Tide squad. Let me start by first and foremost talking about the L. Because during the course of that game, I started getting the text. Here it is. Here's the choke job. He was able to put it up. My dudes, my dudettes. This Alabama Crimson Tide team is freaking good.
All right. Before you get into that, this is a coaching thing. Their defense on the inside was great, but they allowed Alabama to go nuts on the 3-point line, and there was no one in the face of the shooters at the end of the game, and there should have been. Brownell should have switched up his defense and told people to guard the perimeter. They did not do that. That's why they lost this game.
You lost this game because Alabama shot almost 50% from three. And the problem you have there is that Grant Nelson and Marcus Sears were untouchable in this game.
What? Now, you know why they're untouchable? Because there was no one around them. I mean, that makes it's a lot easier to make a shot if no one's in your face. I'm just saying if they would have did some defensive adjustments, they probably could have won this game.
There is a saying in basketball that is true, I think, across pretty much all sports. And that saying is a good offense beats a good defense. That is true almost without exception. A good offense beats a good defense. You played one of the best offenses in college basketball. And while we can sit here and say, all right, extend the defense play. In fact, I was even texting Cole Bryson during that game. We were going back and forth about it. I sent him a text.
Interaction with the other show?
Yeah.
That's weird.
We do that here. I was texting with Cole Bryson during the show. And I said, because he was saying the same thing. You got to get a hand up. And I'm going, yeah, you do. The problem is they've got a 2 or 3 guy deep rotation of 6'11" dudes in the middle, and you've got PJ Hall. And I'm going to say something.
Shefflin's not. It's just
Shefflin's not a big man.
You don't count.
I'm talking about.
He looks pretty tall to me.
No, he is not a big man.
So he has no presence on the boards at all.
He does not have a consistent post defense presence. No. At 6'8", up against 6'11" and 7-footers, you need PJ Hall to be the man on defense in that game. No, Shefflin is a workhorse. He is a hustle monster. He is all the attributes that I love in a basketball player, but he is not a post defender. No. The problem that you had in this game is a problem that you had throughout the tournament. And the problem is PJ Hall was okay at best. And I'm sorry to kick the legs out of a guy that I very much enjoyed covering and watching this season. But in this tournament, PJ Hall was okay. Now, you can argue that teams coming into this tournament knew exactly who the man was for Clemson. And they ran offenses and defenses specifically to isolate him and to decelerate him. But at the end of the day, if you are an All-American big man, I expect you to show out. Do you think that Tennessee didn't have a plan to try to limit Zach Edey? He still scored 40.
So you're saying that these guys have plans, but Brad Brownell couldn't adjust. You are not going to change my mind. If you can't get guys out to get a hand in someone's face when they're shooting those threes, you don't deserve to win.
I think that
PJ Hall was disappointing. He absolutely was compared to what, especially in this game. He didn't have the game that he's had the last couple games, made some bonehead things because that's what he does. He does really good stuff and he does really dumb things. But the rest of the team picked him up. And who is it? Hunter, the guy
Hunter?
Yeah, he did not have the kind of game that he's had the last couple games either.
There is a analogy, metaphor, whatever you want to call it, that I use in situations like this. In situations where somebody says, well, you just got to do this. Yes, I understand. It is very similar to the fact that, I know how to stop a moving train. You stand in front of it and you push real hard. The knowledge of how to do a thing does not equate to the ability to do the thing.
All right, Rob, I get what you're saying, but if you don't even attempt it, if you don't try to make adjustments, try to get guys out there when they're on fire in the perimeter, hey, just go out there and get in their face and rough them up if you have to, but do something, and they didn't do anything.
First off, roughing them up wasn't an option because there were whistles getting blown everywhere, and all you're playing would do is have your guys fouling out with 8 minutes instead of 6.
Yeah, that's why you have a bench. And anyway,
your starters couldn't get it done.
This is coaching.
Go to the bench.
That's what the bench is for. Especially if you want. You have said many times you are the guy to go in and get a foul, right?
Yes.
So they don't have those guys.
But I was not the guy that you put out there to close out on a guy like Mark Sears. That wasn't going to work. That's not going to happen. Here's what I'm going to say, and I don't say this with any disrespect or breakdown, but I am going to push back and say this. I think the narrative for so many years has been Brad Brownell sucks, that anytime that Clemson takes an L, it just auto hangs on him. I'm going to tell you, the defense for Clemson in this game was outdone by the fact that Alabama was not just efficient on offense, but the fact that Nate Oates was constantly adjusting his offense to where you had to have 3 or 4 or 5 different defenses available. And even still, when they're shooting 50%, there's not a ton you can do other than try to match them bucket for bucket.
This is why sports are amazing, because 2 people can watch the same game and see 2 totally different things. And I think that you should at least give that a possibility that maybe if they played some better perimeter defense, they had a better shot at winning this game. But you're just like shooting it down like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm
not shooting it down like you don't know. I'm shooting it down like I disagree with that. I think Clemson's defense around the perimeter was fine. I think Alabama was white hot shooting the ball. Good offense beats good defense.
All right, we got Clemson fans on the stream. Do you think their defense on the perimeter was good or not? I mean, they had no defense on the perimeter. So it's hard to be good when no one's out there.
think that there is a thought here that because Alabama was 16 of 36 from behind the arc, there was no defense out there. I think there was.
It's not the amount of shots. It's when they, in the second half, when they got going, he didn't put anybody out there to try to stop it.
In the second half, when they got going, a large part of that was because of the fact that you started to get guys into that 3 and 4 foul range. I can't have you just running out there at shooters and risking fouling out in a game where I'm consistently training.
Maybe it's just me, but be within 5 feet of the shooters, maybe. I mean, even if you're not running out there, just like be out there where you're actually in the frame when they're taking a shot. The TV front, maybe I'm wrong.
Clemson fans, what's your thoughts on that game? What went wrong in that Alabama, aside from the fact that you were in the Elite Eight and playing a team that was second place in the SEC by a game and coached by Nate Oates, one of the best coaches in college basketball? We'll break this game down further later on. To break down all things going on in the world of sports, here's Lonzo with a Sports Flash.
Duke wanted payback for their early exit in the ACC tournament to NC State. Instead, the Wolfpack escorted them from a second consecutive tournament with a 76-64 victory, including 29 and 20 from DJ Burns and DJ Horn. And now they are in the Final Four. NC State will get the 1-seeded Purdue in the Final Four after the Boilermakers knocked off Tennessee 72-66. Dalton connect, whatever, did all he could scoring 37, but no other Volunteers scored double digits in the loss. The 7-4 Zach Edney, I don't know why we got to say his height, but we did, scored 40 and had 16 boards to advance Purdue to the Final Four. Hey, did you know that we have a brand new afternoon show? Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show. Wire to Wire, Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire. All right, Bill Brooks, I put it back in. Put it in, dude. Not to send an email. Don't want to send an email.
Qualifying for this debt relief program, which the credit card companies prefer to keep secret, will only require you to pay back a fraction of what you owe with one affordable monthly payment. You don't have to file bankruptcy or need a debt consolidation loan. Consumers can now take advantage of this financial debt relief during the current economic downturn and rising inflation. If you owe $10,000 or even $500,000 in credit card debt or personal loans, call the Debt Relief Advocates Helpline now for this free information and to see if you qualify. Call 800-505-9734. 800-505-9734. Again, that's 800-505-9734.
Hey everyone, it's Boomer Esiason here. Superchargers, headlights, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Stay on your game, all with the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian
Soggy Bottom Boys is a great pick.
Or go to pfchangs.com for website.
George Clooney apparently tried to sing in that movie, and they brought him in the booth, and he started singing, and they just stopped rolling tape like 40 seconds into his first song.
What they should have did when he was playing Batman. Yeah.
Just Batman who talks like George Clooney.
877 Web Now 1.
The Fan.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL Greenville.
W246CB Spartanburg. Always live on the Free Odyssey app.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents me a win.
Yeah. Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah, Rob. Only on.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back. My name is Rob Brown. Over there on the other side of the metaphorical glass, the guy that is pushing the button switchings and
Yo.
the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show. He is the great one, Lonzo. We are ever so glad to have you here with us this early Monday morning.
Hey, Rob, it's award season. I don't know if you knew that.
It is award season. It is. We got the notification last week that it is time for us, and by us, I mean Lonzo, with the, like, I throw assists to Lonzo the way that, like, a point guard just gives it to Shaq in the paint. It's like, is it really an assist to give the ball to that guy and just like, it's like Zach Edey.
I'm not talking stuff anymore. I'm just gonna get in there and do work and see what happens, because, you know, if I get too cocky, if I get too, you know, like, look at me, bad things could happen. I don't want to do that. I want to be in there and just be a worker. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a with and an and with a lot of awards.
It is going to be a heartbreaking day, the day we get sent over there and don't win. It's going to be real hard to handle.
I have been there and you've gotten a second place technically.
Yeah,
so
it hurts.
It does.
Even when I was up against, like, the Tom Brady of local sports radio, a guy that's won that award, 13 damn times in a row. He's untouchable.
I hope he hates Tom Brady, and when he hears you reference that, it bothers him.
I don't. He doesn't need more motivation. Hey,
you got him this year.
No, I don't.
Sure you do.
And that's okay. It's like stepping into the ring against Prime Tyson. It's exactly what I'm telling Clemson fans right now about their basketball team. Sometimes you've just got to tip your cap to the victor and go, I did everything I could. I did the best I could, and it wasn't good enough. Real life sucks sometimes. Sometimes you just recognize no matter how much you practice, no matter how much work you put in, there is always going to be someone better at you, better than you at being you. It's rough. It's a reality you have to accept, though. This is one of those things I think it is important to promote kids playing youth sports, because a hard lesson that sports is going to teach you is that sometimes you just have to accept that you're always going to lose. Eventually, you're always going to lose. Nobody goes undefeated in life, except like LeBron, who scored 40 on 9 of 10 from deep in a win over the Nets. LeBron can't lose, but everybody else loses at least one. So
LeBron, some people would say LeBron loses every day because he's not Michael Jordan.
I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:04 in the morning. You are less than 56 minutes away from having to punch the clock, from having to get to work, from having to get those emails out, from having to start working on that one project you've been putting off, but it's due like tomorrow and you got 2 weeks of work to get done in a day. Whatever you got going on, you got 56 minutes until it happens. I'm going to get to work. And you get through that first project of the day, and it's time to start being, a good employee or whatever. You're going to want to take a break. And when you take a break, you're going to want to talk sports with your coworkers. And if you're going to talk sports with your coworkers, you're going to need to know what's going on. And if you're going to need to know what's going on, you're going to need this.
Damn, son, that is one compelling argument.
It is March, and by March, I mean April 1st, but it's still March because the madness continues. A lot of basketball on the thread today. Your water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know for today, April 1st. 2025. That was it April already. It was New Year's Eve a week ago.
Welcome to the realm of the olds when the days just go by so fast.
Dude, how is it April already? Unbelievable. It is, however, WrestleMania week.
Yes, it is.
That's exciting.
And South Carolina Comic-Con.
And South Carolina Comic-Con and Greenville Triumph Star Wars night. And a week and a half away from the match. Somebody lied to me. Somebody had me convinced last week the Masters and WrestleMania were the same weekend. They're not.
You kept saying it.
I
just took your word for it. So
you shouldn't have.
But
should be like, hey, idiot, shut up. You're wrong.
I mean, I get it's prestigious and everything, and I might, jump in for a few minutes, but for the most part, I don't watch it. So.
I'm actually really good with that because the Masters and WrestleMania both deserve their own weekend. So I'm actually really good with that. Hey, let's get to item number 1. Your men's Final Four is set. The left side of the bracket was determined on Saturday. It began with a 72-69 win by the Illinois Fighting Illini over the Iowa State Cyclones, making Rob Brown 0-1 in his Elite 8 projections. I really thought the Iowa State defense was going to earn this team a W, but they allowed the Illini to shoot 42% from the floor. They let them go 31% from deep, and they pretty much did everything better. They had more rebounds. They had more assists. They had fewer steals, but right there in the market, just about everything went the way of the Illini. I have said, balanced teams go further in the tournament. Why? Because a good offense beats a good defense. And if you can do both, you give yourself the best possible chance to win. Iowa State, remarkable defense, good offense. Illinois, real good offense, pretty good defense. The balance philosophy worked. The Illini move on. Who do they square off against in the Final Four? That, of course, would be the Alabama Crimson Tide, who knocked out your Clemson Tigers. 89-82 was your final in that one. You got 23 from Mark Sears, who went 7 of 14, 50% from behind the arc. The Crimson Tide as a team went 16 of 36 for 45% from range. They also hit 47% from the field. Here's the thing, statistically speaking, there were a couple of stats that jumped off the page. Clemson got out-rebounded, 44-33. If you asked me to circle a basketball thing that was the reason this team lost, Lonzo said it was the inability to defend the three. And I do think there was a part of it to that, for sure. The biggest thing to me, I am guaranteeing you, I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head. I may go back later this week, rewatch this game, and keep track. I would be willing to guess that at least 10 Alabama points came from second chance opportunities after an offensive rebound. The reality is Clemson got wrecked on the board. Alabama got credit for 16 offensive rebounds in this game. If they made everything, that's as many as 32 points that they would have gotten on offensive boards. They shot 47%. Let's say 50. Let's say 50%. They shot 50% from the field. If they got 16 offensive rebounds and 8 of those eventually found their way back into the bucket, you were talking, not three-pointers included, you were talking 16 points of swing just off the offensive glass. 16 points. You lost by 7. The free throw shooting was real bad too. Clemson went 8 of 16 from the stripe. Diesel texted during that game with a very interesting point deep into the second half. He pointed out that if Clemson shot their season average from the free throw stripe, they had this game tied. Season average would have added 5 free throws to the mix. There was a point about 2 minutes left in this game that if Clemson was shooting their average on the season from the stripe, the game would have been tied and it would have been a different game. It would have been a different game. By the way, I screwed up. I said the Iowa State Illinois game. Obviously, UConn knocked off Illinois. I was going all the way back to Thursday and Friday last week. That's my bad. I'm such a dummy. UConn knocks off Illinois with a 30-0 run. They outscored the Illini in the second half 49-29. I'm still going to go back to what I was saying a minute ago. And that is, of course, that balance of good offense and good defense wins. UConn is the epitome of that, the perfect illustration of that. They have a phenomenal offense and a top 13 defense in America, and they put that on display. There is nothing to break down in this game for UConn. They did everything right. They shot 52% from the floor. I mean, maybe they could have looked better from the three-point line. They shot 18%, but they only put up 17 threes in this game because they were dominating in the middle. They ended up with 45 boards, 21 assists, 10 blocks in the game. There's nothing to say. UConn played a perfect basketball game, and they go up against Alabama in the Final Four. Over on the other side, we have already broken it down. NC State gets the better of Duke, 76-64. DJ and DJ get it done. Down on the bottom half, Dalton Connect did everything that Dalton Connect could do in this game. It was not enough. 37 points for Dalton Connect. No other Volunteers ended up in double digits in this game. Ziegler had 9. Nobody else got close. They got 13 minutes out of Vescovi, who had to miss the previous game due to the flu. He did make his way back for the Elite Eight game, was able to check in, but did not get anything, went 0 of 2 from the floor. They were really kind of trying to keep in reserve. They went with him late in the game to try to provide a spark off the bench, but he clearly was not ready. So your men's Final Four is set. Alabama will take on UConn. That game is on the 6th at 8:49. Preceding that, NC State versus Purdue. A couple of 1 seeds in Purdue and Alabama. Purdue and UConn. Alabama, the 4 seed. NC State, the 11 seed. Over on the women's side, our Final Four will be finished up tonight. South Carolina, as we told you going into this tournament, was going to get an opportunity to square off against Iowa or LSU, but not both. And now we find out they will likely square off against the winner of Iowa and LSU, as those two teams play this evening at 7 p.m. with a ticket to the Final Four on the line. Down in the bottom bracket, the 1 seed and the 3 seed, Gino Auriemma has his team back in the mix, but the young cats over there in Southern Cal as the 1 seed are waiting on them. That game at 9 o'clock tonight. The winner of USC UConn and the winner of Iowa LSU will move on to the Final Four. Over on the other side, with a 70-58 win over the Oregon State Beavers. The South Carolina Gamecocks are back in the Final Four. 12 from Cardoso, 10 from Bree Hall, 15 off the bench for Tessa Johnson. The Gamecocks shot 33.3% from the field, 20% from deep, 14 of 18 from the stripe. They ended with 12 assists and 51 rebounds in this game for the Gamecocks.
That's a lot of rebounds,
That's
Rob.
a lot of rebounds. South Carolina punches their ticket to the Final Four, where they will line it up with the 3 seed NC State, who knocked off the Texas Longhorns, the 1 seed, 76-66. Those games are set to take place on April 5th. We will keep checked in on that as we move forward. Let's get to item number 2. There are, in the history of the National Basketball Association, 2 players who have multiple 40-point games after their 39th birthday. One of them is Michael Jordan. The other is LeBron James. The 21-year veteran went 13 of 17 from the floor and tied a career high in threes made, going 9 of 10 from deep. LeBron said after the game, quote, "I don't ever have to lean on threes because I can do so much. I can score on any level on the floor, basically, once I cross half court. But being able to have a growth mindset and to be able to work on things the league is changing to, the league is a heavy three-point shooting league. I'm not one of those guys that wants to go out there and shoot 12, 14, 15 threes per game, but I want to be respected, and teams have to play me from the outside. That's still kind of one thing teams think. If we have to give up something, we'd rather let him shoot the ball from the outside." I'll tell you one thing I do appreciate about LeBron James, aside from the fact that he is, physically speaking, the most gifted basketball player of all time and can indeed score from anywhere on the floor. What I love about LeBron James is that the mentality about his game has evolved over the years. The mentality about his game has changed from year to year to year. You will remember a couple of years ago, LeBron James set a career-high mark in assists for the season. Why did he do that? Because once he recognized that he can lean on guys like Anthony Davis underneath to ease a little bit of the pressure, it allowed him to play longer games, and that has allowed him, I think, to play longer into his career. I don't need LeBron James going head-to-head with Domantas Sabonis down on the block. I just need him to lead this team. And he just showed again last night that he can do it. The Lakers with a 116-104 win over the Nets yesterday. Michael Jordan, who played until he was 40, had 3 40-point games after the age of 39 until his retirement. That was LeBron James' second. He will need one more to tie Mike for the most of all time, and I would not be shocked at all if he ends up getting it. We will see what direction they want to go. And finally, item number 3. A lot of different ways we could have gone with this, but I do think this is the most important story, or at least it feels that way to me. Many of you will disagree, and that's okay. We talked a moment ago about the NC State Wolfpack's women's basketball team knocking down a 76-66 win over the Texas Longhorns in the Region 4 final. What we did not get to, because I was saving it for now, was the fact that the court got botched. The court at the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon, as the 2 teams were warming up and getting ready to play, it was found out the 3-point lines were in different places on the floor.
So how was it found out? Did someone go, man, that don't look right? Could someone go out there with the tape measure? That doesn't look right.
Basically, yes. As the camera from the side, from the hard cam, if you will, for us wrestling dorks, was showing the court, it was pretty evident and obvious that the space between the top of the key and the 3-point line was different on one side of the court than the other. It was very clearly X wide on one side and Y on the other, and it was discernible to the naked eye. We are not talking about an inch and a half of difference. We're talking about like a foot of difference on both sides. It was a dramatic difference. Now, what is disappointing is that court had been used for 4 regional semifinals between Friday and Saturday, and the discrepancy did not get noticed until Sunday's game. The 2 head coaches, Wes Moore and Vic Schaefer from NC State and Texas, respectively, were notified on the countdown clock ahead of the scheduled 12:16 start time. Video showed both coaches pacing off the distance to the painted three-point lines at each end of the court. According to Moore, the line in front of his team's bench, the left side of the court on the television broadcast, was notably shorter than the standard 22 feet, while the other three-point line was correct. They did give the 2 teams the option of playing with the discrepancy in the three-point lines or waiting for them to be remeasured and retaped, a process the coaches said would take more than an hour. Moore said, quote, "At first Vic was hesitant about it, and then he finally said, I didn't want to wait an hour or something to play the game. I was ready to get going, but Vic probably figured out, what? This line down here is what we're used to. That line down there isn't," end quote. Yeah, no, of course it's not, because it wasn't right. And these are the types of things that I have a hard time understanding how they happen. I have a hard time understanding how they happen. Now, the NCAA came out with a statement later, and the NCAA said that they contract out the courts to local vendors, which makes sense. The NCAA is not going to load up a court on a truck and take it when they've got 9,000 basketball games happening around the country over the span of 3 weeks. But it would make sense to me that you would show up and, take a look at the court before you played 4 games of it of national importance.
You missed such an opportunity to play a certain clip that you have.
My loins.
No, not that one.
Okay.
When the NCAA was.
This was on me. My bad.
Yeah, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. This is a national championship tournament. This is a tournament that people are watching, that people care about, and that these 2 teams.
But all these people watching and care about, no one noticed till then. You shouldn't have to, as a viewer, go, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
But the fact that no one in the crowd noticed, no players noticed.
There are things that we take for granted in life. We take for granted every day when we are driving up that a red light is timed out correctly. We take, up until recently, I was going to say, we take for granted every time we step on an airline that the doors are shut. Turns out maybe not. But the point is.
Or that the wheels work and things like that.
You take a million things for granted every day that you don't even think about on the daily. And I think that the court being correct in a championship caliber basketball game is something I've never, in the 39 years I've been watching basketball, because I've been watching since I was born, obviously, I don't think I have ever once thought to myself, I wonder if the court is striped off correctly. Because why the hell wouldn't it be, especially when you are talking about the championship tournament of the biggest college football basketball landscape?
As a former basketball player, you probably had a shot. That was your shot, right? And you knew, you didn't even have to look at your feet. You knew you were in the right spot.
Short corner jumper.
Yeah. And so there's got to be some 3-point specialists on all the teams that played on that court that thought they were hitting a 3 and looked down and went, wait, what? I know my feet aren't wrong. There's something wrong here.
You're not wrong, honestly. I am shocked that it took that long to get there. I am shocked that it wasn't noticed before that, primarily by, as you pointed out, any 3-point ace who said, wait a minute, Rob, I don't know why they're talking to me. Wait a minute, Rob. I've been shooting 35% deep all season and all tournament long, but on this court I'm shooting 17%. What's the deal? Why is this happening? I am stunned that it got that far. But again, I am going to place blame at the feet of the NCAA. And at a point in time where you are still dealing with the fallout, do you remember last year's tournament when they were showing pictures of the gym the men were working in, and then they showed pictures of the gym the women were working in, and it was effectively a glorified hotel gymnasium that they were being told, oh, this is it. They put one weight bench in the middle of a damn conference room, and that's it. That's your bench press. Go have fun. It's like, that's not a great look. It's not a great look. And now you can't get the floor right. The floor. It seems like that'd be real easy. All right, let's take a break.
Sounds like a plot for a Snickers commercial.
It really does. Great job, but who are the chefs? Speaking to the chefs, Rasheed, where'd you go, bro? Rasheed. Rasheed Rice, please report to the Dallas-Fort Worth Police Department. Rasheed Rice to the Dallas-Fort Worth Police Department, please. What is going on? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
People driving fast cars. That's why I drive a jalopy.
For sure.
It will not go like that.
For sure. Jesse, we're going to come back to address that in just a little while, my guy. I'm not ignoring it, but it is a topic I want to get to.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done.
Who is your NHL team and why? That's a good question. My NHL team is the Nashville Predators, and it is the Nashville Predators because about 8 years ago, I was in Nashville for a wedding. A girl I was dating had a friend who was getting married. We went to Nashville, and a friend of mine from high school, a guy by the name of AJ, was the director of public relations at the time for the Predators. And so I called him. I actually did not know that. I just knew he lived in Nashville. So I called him because I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and it's the first time I'd ever been in Nashville. And I called him and said, I'm coming up, man. Do you want to grab a beer? And he said, I do. Do you want to come to a Predators game? I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I've never been to a Preds game. So he goes, here's what I want you to do. The game was at like 7:00 that night. He goes, I want you to meet me outside of Bridgestone Arena at 5:00. And I was like, well, that seems like very early. He goes, oh, dude, I work for the team. I want to take you on a tour of the arena. I was like, yeah, for sure. So I met the guy. The tailgate was already rocking at like 5 p.m. They had live music on all four corners of the stadium. It was a college football rivalry game environment for like a random Thursday, Friday night game in the regular season. And so took me in, gave me a tour, got to meet the team, got to go in the locker room. The Titans offensive line was there, and I was in a box, 2 boxes down from them, and it was a party. So I just stayed on board.
Good morning.
The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonzo with you here on a beautiful upstate Monday morning. I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on that 3-point line thing. I'm just saying it's not that tough to get it right. And when the NCAA wonders why it is that so many people constantly drop elbows on them for being a clown show, this is why, dude. It would be so much easier to understand the misnavigation of the modern landscape of college sports with the portal and NIL. It would be so much easier to understand and to maybe give some leniency to the organization trying to navigate some very murky waters if you can get the little things right. But if you are telling me in the third to last games of the biggest women's basketball tournament on planet Earth, you can't get the floor right, then why in the world am I supposed to trust your leadership when it comes to figuring out how to navigate the NIL waters and the transfer portal waters? How am I supposed to believe you when you say we're working on a solution to make everybody happy, a solution to where the players will be happy, a solution to where the coaches will be happy, a solution to where the fans will be happy? We're trying to come up with a solution that everybody can get on board with to these very complex, very nuanced, moving targets of a scenario we have to deal with now. But oh, by the way, at a point in time where women's basketball is the most popular it has ever been, I'm going to tell you right now, the NCAA did dodge one major bullet. They dodged the bullet that this didn't happen on the court where Caitlin Clark was playing on or that Angel Reese was playing on. It dodged a bullet that this didn't happen with the most viewed of the women's college basketball games. Women's college basketball, women's basketball as a whole, has reached peak viewership all time. Frankly, it matters if you like it or not, only in terms of it could be more. But it doesn't really matter if you speak out about it. As the old saying goes, the proof is in the pudding, which is another phrase I don't understand. There's a lot of these that you say them and you're like, I bet I can probably guess where this comes from. Why is the proof in the pudding?
I think it has to do with whether you have meat in your pudding or not.
How do you have pudding if you didn't finish your meat?
Exactly.
The proof is in the pudding. It's an expression that means the value, quality, or truth of something must be judged based on direct experience or on the results. The expression is an alteration of an older saying that makes the meaning a bit cleaner. The proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Why did they just decide to pick pudding for that? I wonder.
Yeah, can I say anything?
I think pudding probably was bigger back in the day.
The proof is in the muffins.
Yeah.
Like what? All right, anyway.
The proof is in the croissant.
I like that. That might be what I say from now on. My dude, the proof is in the croissant. All right, so the point here is the NCAA dodged a bullet in that this did not happen on a court. Could you think about it this way? What happens if this happens, but it happens in the regional where Caitlin Clark is playing? What happens if this happens in a regional and Caitlin Clark, the most visible female basketball player on planet Earth, in fact, I would even go so far as to say the most visible college basketball player, period, on planet Earth? What happens if Caitlin Clark spots up at this tournament and she goes 3 of 15 from behind the arc on this court? A court where the three-point line is two different distances on both sides of the floor. That people will be pitching a fit. And my thought is going to be that while I am absolutely a Caitlin Clark stan, no doubt about it. While I am a Caitlin Clark stan, Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve better or different treatment than any of the ladies playing for NC State or Texas. And if you would not do this in a game where Caitlin Clark is going to be a needle mover for you, and she is. I was watching the men's side yesterday. Caitlin Clark had to be in 20 different commercials during the course of those two games. If you would not be okay with this happening in a game where the most visible face in college basketball, Caitlin Clark, is on the television, then why would you be okay with it happening to NC State and Texas? You should not be. These are the things that the NCAA routinely and consistently do And then they turn around and can't figure out why it is that none of us trust them to get it right when it comes to more complicated scenarios. I can boil this down to the basics of, yeah, it's kind of crappy that it always seems that the women's tournament is an afterthought. It always seems that the women's tournament, it's like, let's make sure everything's going good on the men's side, and then we'll see if we can get the right floor for the redheaded stepchildren that are the women's tournament. We'll make sure everything is perfect for Zach Edey and Dalton Connect. We'll make sure everything's good on that end. And then whatever resources we have left over after that, then we'll dedicate those, and we'll see if we can make the women's tournament like nice enough. Let's make sure that's nice enough. But instead, we end up with crap like this. And I don't understand it. These women busted all year to make it to this level. And then they show up to a game that the floor is not right. And yes, I know, as the NCAA did their best to pawn this off on another organization. Well, we go through vendors. We contract the floor out, right? We ask businesses in the area. We ask businesses in the area to put these floor together, and we trust that they get it right. My dudes. My dad used to give me a quote years ago that was said by, was it Woodrow Wilson? I don't know. He claimed that's who it was. I don't remember. But the phrase was, trust, but verify. No, I always hated that phrase.
I thought that was Ronald Reagan.
I don't know.
It could have been.
It might have been. It was a long time ago. Trust, but verify. And I always hated that quote. I hated that quote. Oh, it was Ronald Reagan. I hated that quote because to me, if you need to verify, it means you don't trust. Trust means I don't need to verify. I trust you to get the job done. I hate that quote. But in this case, how tough is it for a rules official from the NCAA to just show up? And by the way, and this is one thing I will say makes the look that much worse. It took them 4 games for somebody to notice this. I'll send you the picture, Alonzo. Somebody sent it to me. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Now, when I got the picture initially, I looked at it and I'm like, this is a hard cam, right? This is halfway up in the stadium, over in the bleachers. Maybe they have a bit of a fisheye effect going on. Maybe they got a fisheye effect and it's presenting a little optical illusion. And then they started showing pictures like side by side, because once photographers caught on, they started taking a look side by side. It was very clearly different distances. Not an inch and a quarter. It was like a foot of difference. It was bad. So at a point in time where you are seeing most of America go, yeah, we'd like to see women's sports that is producing stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, like the entire South Carolina basketball team the last 2 years. In a sport that is starting to finally crest that hill, is getting its time in the sun, is seeing women's games not just get put on TV, but get put on TV and producing 9.9 million person audiences for certain games. So you'll be able to just get the damn 3-point line fixed. It's unbelievable. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, Jesse said something on the stream a few minutes ago that I want to get to. His thoughts on Brad Brownell, because despite the fact that Los Tigres made their way into the Elite Eight, despite the fact that the Tigers simply got beat by a Final Four caliber team in the University of Alabama, despite the fact that the Tigers accomplished something that so many of you said they couldn't, despite the fact that the Tigers did not choke, there are many of you Tigers fans who are saying that Tigers coach Brad Brownell should be retired by the Tigers, and I'm going to speak to the Tigers fans when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. He's the great one, Lonzo. Tigers, it's the fan upstate.
I'm going to.
All right, guys, give us just a minute. We will be right back, and we will address that take. Jesse? All right, dudes and dudettes, thanks for hanging in there. Welcome back.
In Greenville and in Nashville, 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hey everyone, it's Boomer Esiason here. Superchargers, headlights, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Stay on your game, all with the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The TTI Tool Sale is back. Top brands at huge savings on power tools, floor care products, and outdoor power equipment. Friday 9 to 6 and Saturday 9 till the tools are gone. Exit 27 Anderson at the intersection of Ryobi and Highway 81. Credit card only. No cash accepted. Subject to product availability and weather.
And now Martha Stewart for Skechers. When I make a dish or embark on a craft project, I always use the finest, most
By the way, for Comic-Con,
and materials.
they removed cash from parking.
Oh, sweet.
Not really. I think it's going to cause a problem.
Removed cash from part.
You can't just-
you got to use a card. I thought you meant they were making it free. Got it.
No, no.
Yeah.
You can actually go ahead and buy it online now, and they'll send you a code, and you can.
The parking garages at the well take cards. which if you have a tap card, that makes life very easy. Wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Jesse said on the stream, quote, I really am not well-versed in basketball, but I feel like we have been just average under Brownell for years, and we are in need of a fresh start. Yes, the Elite Eight is great, but Clemson still loses to teams that it shouldn't from what I've seen, and we beat Bama in the regular season, so it's tough to take the loss as much else other than coaching error. But Bama was shooting the lights out of the gym, and that's near impossible to stop. We have seen that from players like Curry and Clark. Let me respond, Jesse, by saying this. One of the things about sports, as Lonzo has said aptly, appropriately, and correctly, is there can be only one champion. There's only one champ every year. And sometimes it ain't, air quotes, the best team, end air quotes. Sometimes it's the hottest team. Again, I go back to, let's say, hypothetically last year. The Atlanta Braves were a better baseball team than the Philadelphia Phillies last year. But they did not get out of the NLDS. Why? Because the Phillies were the hot team last year, and they beat the better team in a series. That's how it goes. That being said, Alabama was a really good basketball team this year. The only team that outpaced Alabama in the Southeastern Conference is there was a 5-way tie for second with the Auburn Tigers. And would you look at that? The team that won the SEC championship. The team that even people who know ball selected as national champions before they got bounced from the tourney in round 1 by a bunch of dorks from Yale, the Auburn Tigers. That it happens. There can be only one champ, and you are not the worst team. Keep in mind, Alabama had just beat a North Carolina team that was playing the best basketball of the season. I understand that you beat Alabama. There was a lot of confidence in having beat Alabama. You beat Alabama on the road earlier in the season. But the key words there are earlier in the season. See, because a good basketball coach, and I know some of you are going to try to use this as ammunition against the point that I'm about to try to make. Good basketball coaches evolve their team. Their team evolves over the course of the season. Their teams begin to learn, hey, you know what? Maybe we didn't know that we were going to be really good at this thing, but we're really good at this thing. Hey, maybe we didn't know that we were going to be really bad at this thing, so let's avoid that thing. And your basketball team adapts over the course of the year. Alabama, North Carolina, Clemson, they all got better as the season goes on. What I'm going to say is this. That loss to Alabama, does it have to do with coaching? A little bit, but don't hang on to that. Don't hang on to that as if that's the number one reason. With all due respect, it wasn't. Was it a reason? Sure. But I'm also going to tell you, Nate Oates outcoaches 95% of coaches in college basketball. There's a reason that Alabama locked that cat up for like 14 years and made him one of the highest paid head coaches in college basketball. The overwhelming majority of coaches are going to get outcoached by Nate Oates. He is damn good. And as I have said to a lot of people, I've said it on and off these airwaves. The issue with Brad Brownell has never been X's and O's. You can go back to that game against Baylor and recognize that. The X's and O's aren't an issue. And I don't think the X's and O's were an issue against Alabama. I think this Clemson team was playing the right style of basketball. But there come points in time where you have to look and say, and it makes me uncomfortable to say it, but sometimes you lose because the players didn't play good enough. All right, really? That's just the reality. Yes, there are plenty of times that you lose because a coach didn't coach good enough. And I would even be willing to say there were a few losses on the schedule this year that Clemson took an L because Brad didn't coach it right. It happens. And by the way, that happens to every coach. It happens to legendary coaches. You just have an off night, just like a player does. But as I've pointed out and pointed out and pointed out, and I will probably point it out again, this is a game. What did I say last week? I said going into the Sweet 16 game, that was a game to me that Clemson needed Chase Hunter to be a guy. That game against Arizona, he was a dude. What did I say about the Clemson-Alabama game? That's a game you needed PJ Hall to be a dude. That was the game where I needed 24 to be at his best. And you're just not going to convince me that PJ Hall getting 4 rebounds and shooting sub 50% from inside of the floor is good enough. It's not. It's not. I can't have the heartbeat of my team go 6 of 14 from the floor, get to the stripe 3 times. And listen, I'll go back to the Arizona game and say, go follow me on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show. I said it in game. The officiating in the game against Arizona was crap. It was bad. It was real bad. I did not like it at all. I thought Clemson was getting the shaft against Arizona. I'm not going to say the same thing about the Alabama game. For the record, with Clemson fouling late in this game to stop the game, to force Alabama to the line, to try to make a miracle happen, the personal foul count was 20-17. The free throw differential was 22-16. And yes, I would say at least 6 of those came late in the game when Clemson was trying to get Alabama to the stripe. There are some games where a coach makes, I'm not saying Brad Brownell was perfect. No coach is going to be perfect. What I'm saying is I didn't think the schemes were that bad. There were some spots I might have changed a thing or two. There were some spots late in the game where, as I texted Cole, to Lonzo's credit, I said, you got to open this defense up. You got to take the risk that Grant Nelson is going to kill PJ Hall one-on-one down low, because if you're just going to let Mark Sears keep knocking down trays from deep, you're going to have a problem. But
better to get, if you're going to give up twos, give up twos. Don't give up threes.
Yeah. But I think at that point in the game, PJ Hall was already sitting on 3 fouls. A guy that you will remember we had to laud a little bit because there were games that he did not even play half the minutes because of foul trouble. You're trying to keep him out of foul trouble. And Alabama did exactly what they should have done. And by the way, this is what Arizona tried to do too. Go directly into PJ Hall's chest and get him into foul trouble early. Because when you take that guy off the floor, whether or not he's having a good game, when you take that guy off the floor, the Clemson offense becomes limited. There were spots that it could have been better. But here's the reality. When I am getting 6 of 14 from the floor, 1 offensive rebound, 3 defensive rebounds, and 4 total rebounds, 2 assists, no steals, no blocks, and 5 turnovers out of PJ Hall, you're going to have a real hard time winning that basketball game. And I don't care if it's Alabama, North Carolina, Baylor, Arizona, whoever. I have an infinite amount of respect for the kid. The kid's a hustle monster. He clearly loves the game, but PJ Hall didn't have a great tournament. He was okay. He was okay. Wasn't bad. In this tournament, PJ Hall was just okay. And there is a little bit of me that thinks Clemson got where Clemson got. I'm not going to say in spite of PJ Hall, but around PJ Hall. That game was a game I said last week. If you want to beat Alabama, PJ's got to have a big day. The fact is, he did not. Nick Pringle on the other side for Alabama, 16 points, came down with 11 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block, and just 2 turnovers. And he came into that game knowing I've got to out-battle PJ Hall. And he did. And he did. It's real simple. You can ask Ian Shefflin, who did have a great tournament, to step up. He did 11 boards and a couple of assists, no steals, no blocks, but no turnovers either. I can ask him to step in and go 7 of 13, over 50%. Ask him to get to the line and knock him down, 4 of 8. Yes, free throw shooting was a problem. Clemson was 50% from the stripe. You're not going to win a championship if you're shooting 50% from the stripe. I don't care who you are. You can ask for more, but at the end of the day, this was a spot they needed a big day out of PJ Hall, and they didn't get it. This was a spot where I'm going to say, I understand the narrative for years. The narrative since I got here has been Brad. Bad Brad. This was not Brad. This was not Brad. This was simply a spot where the players were asked to execute, and they got beat by a very good team, by a very good Alabama team. But they just got out basketballed. And sometimes you lose a game because you just get out basketballed. Nobody is going to out sports Flash Alonzo, though.
Daggum right. Yeah. I won't eat. The women's Final Four will once again feature the South Carolina Gamecocks. Don Staley's team punched their ticket yesterday with a 70-58 win over Oregon State. Tessa Johnson scored 15 off the bench, while Camila Cardoso and Bree Hall scored 12 and 10. And the Gamecocks out-rebounded the Beavers 51-37. The Gamecocks will see the NC State Wolfpack in the Final Four on April 5th. LeBron James refuses to bow to Father Time, and he showed it again last night with a 40-point performance in a 116-104 LA win over Brooklyn. LeBron joins Michael Jordan as the only players in NBA history with multiple games of 40 or more after turning 39. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on all the latest local and national sports. Come on.
They recorded the sound of tanks moving and men marching at Fort Knox, then played the sound back with massive speakers and amplifiers attached inside of trucks. You can hear it for 15 miles. The Ghost Army used spoof radio, using voice actors from the movies to read prepared scripts over the radio, giving the enemy fake movements. The 23rd made their way with descent throughout Europe and eventually into Germany with other Allied forces, completing 20 separate campaigns. The Ghost Army was kept a secret for 50 years and finally declassified in 1996. Members have since been awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. This has been a bite out of history with Eagles Barnets.
Pre-spring in South Carolina.
I honestly, the first probably 2 rounds, Shane, I didn't really have a problem with the officiating. The last couple of games, there have been some pretty poor ones. I didn't necessarily get mad about it. Like the Arizona-Clemson game, Clemson had to go 5-on-8 for sure. But the first couple of rounds I thought were pretty good, to be honest with you.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan, at an amazing price with no contracts. Should you
I felt so bad for Matthew Saturday while he was on the wall.
How'd it go?
Oh, my new gun, man. Once I got it going, it was like, boom, 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 boom. I finally got the thing. I didn't make it through the entire clip in 30. I started too slow. It's like, because I was feeling bad.
Did he quit the show immediately?
No. He didn't wear anything either. It's like, come on, dude.
Like a man.
It's like, take the axe, man.
Like
Do something. And Rob's Gatling gun, the belt came off of it, and he didn't have time to fix it. So he went and bought another one.
He just went and bought one.
Well, not like that. It was a different one, but it made like a sound, and it had like 2 pistons for the things, and it would shoot out of each one. And he went through his clip like in seconds. I was like, dude, you should have grabbed another gun. We had some more guns over there that were full. That new gun has really good aim, though, so I never was close to hitting Matthew anywhere with it. So it was somewhere in the chest every single time. But he had whelps, though.
ED is personal, and at HIMSS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with 0 copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face.
Odie thinks we should have a camera facing the Nerf. And
I completely agree.
Yeah, I just don't know how I can do that.
Just move one of the ones that are.
Yeah, but the wire has to be.
It didn't have to be a close up. It'd be hilarious if it was.
No, I mean on the side of the person getting shot,
Yeah.
so they can see everything. I'm just trying to figure out
The one that's pointed at the
logistically.
producer just twist it over.
I don't know if that it would have to move. I don't know. I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. Should have seen that one coming. Just like that, we roll into hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you here on the Fan Upstate. I know we've already talked about it. We don't need to spend the entire show on this, but I will address it one more time. I don't know how Brad hasn't earned one more year. I understand he's got some guys that are going to be moving on. I'll tell you right now, I think the best move for PJ Hall is to stick around one more year. I just think it is. I think in some of the biggest spots of the season, PJ Hall became an average player. And if you ask me to draw up a scouting report on that cat right this second, if you ask me to draw up a scouting report for his NBA draft possibility, my response would be he's going undrafted. I couldn't do it. It's not out of disrespect to the kid. I think he's a good kid. From everything I've heard about him, he's a solid dude. There's no lack of heart. But at the end of the day, as I've pointed out many times, if heart was what counted on a basketball floor, I'd have been a D1 college player. I had one fundamental problem when it came to making it to play college ball. Do you know what it was? I wasn't very good at basketball. That's it. That's the take. I just wasn't very good at basketball. And so PJ Hall looked to me as if he was a guy that is frankly a little afraid of contact. He's not a guy that loves to rebound. He's not a guy that wants to get into the fray, get up, go get noisy around the basket, bring down the ball, outlet it, and go play some heavy-hitting offense. And in the era of the NBA, where basketball is as positionless as it's ever been, if you're in the NBA, you can play 2 positions or more. The majority of big men. Think about the big men in the league right now. Guys like Nikola Jokic. Jokic is a scary 3-point shooter. Think about Luka Doncic. Luka's a guard 90% of the NBA's history. What is he right now? A guard / basically power forward. My dude is hitting underhand scoop shots from the 3-point line, but he can also go down in the middle, bang around, and knock down a mid-range J. I don't feel like PJ can do that. And unfortunately, I feel like it cost Clemson in this spot. I feel like it cost them. I feel like Alabama got so many second chance opportunities. That's what won them the game. They brought down, what did we say it was, 16 offensive rebounds? That's too many offensive rebounds. It just is. It's ugly. I don't like it. but it's just too many offensive rebounds for a team that was shooting the ball as efficiently as Alabama was. If they shot, let's say 50%, which the number wasn't that far off. I think it was 47% from the floor. So let's say for the sake of discussion, they shot 50% on second chance opportunities. When they missed the initial shot, got the ball back. I remember one possession, I think they got 3 offensive rebounds in the same possession. Let's say they shot 50% on second chance opportunities. That's 16 opportunities. And let's say they were all 2s. Let's not even include second chance opportunities that led to 3-pointers, because I know there was at least one. If it was just 2s, you were talking 16 points of difference in that game. 16 points. If Clemson knocked down the 40% they were shooting on second chance opportunities, I think they added 6 points to their total. You're talking about 10 points a swing just in second chance points. 10 points a swing, you lost by 9. Let's not even include shooting 50% from the free throw line. They even hit my dude, Ian Shefflin. They even hit that guy with the curse of the announcer. Late in the game, Shefflin's going to the stripe. Got a chance, if I recall correctly, to either tie it or bring Clemson within one possession. And they're like, and Shefflin leading the country in free throw percentage. Break, misses 2, back-to-back. Like I said, there's a lot of people today that you're going to hear on different stations. This one, other ones, heck, maybe on this show. We'll check with Lonzo here in 30 seconds. That are going to hang this on the neck of Brad Brownell. To me, my dude coached you to an Elite Eight. And to me, the players failed to execute to get you on to the round of 4.
Well, I already did in the first hour blame Brad Brownell to a degree because he didn't change his defense up and get guys out on the perimeter to at least get a hand in the face of the shooters, or at least be in the same frame within 5 feet of these guys, and he did not do that. The other thing was PJ Hall, and I've been on PJ Hall for this entire tournament. When he's good, he's really good. When he's bad, he's boneheaded. And in this game, he just kind of didn't show up. I mean, he was there a little bit, but he wasn't the factor he needed to be when other players weren't playing well. He appears to be the team leader, and he did not lead like he should have. But in the end, you're going to lose some games, and they lost this game. I think this justifies them giving Brad Brownell an extension.
I don't know that you need to give him a big fat extension after this.
He already got one, right?
Yep. Through 2026, if I
That's what I'm saying. I think it helps to justify their confidence in him as far as the upper people in Clemson who make those decisions. I think it looks good on them, the fact that he was able to coach this team to the level that they were that close.
You made it to a round that North Carolina made it to. You made it to a round that Duke made it to. You made it to a round that UConn made it to. You made it to a round that Purdue made it to.
Did any ACC team make the Final Four? Just NC State, right?
NC State.
That's it.
NC State's in and Alabama's in. You got a Big East team, a Big Ten team, an ACC team, and an SEC team.
Wow, that's cool.
That's the list. So
enjoy it while you can, because when the super conferences really hit, you're not going to see this so much anymore. Maybe.
Well, it's going to be interesting because a big part of that is going to be determined by what the future of the tournament looks like. There is still discussion ongoing about potentially expanding the tournament. And of course, as soon as they said that, you had about half the country saying expanded, half the country not. Of the half that said expanded, you had about half of them saying expand it, but the extra spots should all go to major conferences, should all go to SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12 schools. Well, not Pac-12 anymore, but should go to major conference schools. And you had about half of them saying, no, it should be open. It should be open. There's plenty of mid-majors who enter this tournament. I will say this, with there being one ACC, one SEC, one Big Ten, and one Big East, the argument for allowing those new spots to go only to power conferences gained a little momentum. It gained a little steam because while we had plenty of mid-majors who made the opening rounds fun, you got no mid-majors left dancing unless you consider the Big East, but the Big East is too many the basketball conference. So, I don't know. I don't know what you do with it. I think that to me, the tournament should be open to the best teams that qualify. And obviously that becomes a subjective conversation as to what qualifies. Does running through a mid-major, only taking 2 or 3 L's, put you on the same level as running through the Southeastern Conference? Well, I'd also point out that despite the Southeastern Conference getting one in, the SEC had more teams than anybody else, and they lost over half those teams in the opening round to some mid-majors, to an Ivy League school, the Nerds from Yale. Why? So anyway, we'll see how all this plays out in the future. Back to Clemson for a minute, and then we'll move on past this for the rest of the day. I think that this year, above all years, Brad did a great job. I really do. I think he did a spectacular job this year. I think he was coaching in a conference that, when it came down to it, proved that it is still absolutely a premier basketball conference. I remember towards the end of the season when the SEC fans were hitting us with the, hey, look at me, I'm the captain now moment. I think the ACC proved that it is still a dominant basketball conference. It took an ACC team to knock Duke out. Granted, the SEC had 2 teams in that rank, but so did the ACC with 3. So it's still a real good conference that Brad coaches in. He still sits in the middle of Georgia and Tennessee and Florida State and Auburn and Alabama and has to recruit against all of them. That ain't easy. And I think that when it's all said and done and we've had a little time to let the knee-jerk reaction stuff pass us by, Clemson fans are going to recognize that they had a pretty special season. And I know that if you have that mentality, that Kobe mentality of nothing matters but winning, which at the end of the day, everybody who doesn't host the trophy, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, you come on over here and get the trophy.
You hoist the trophy, you're a loser.
Yeah.
If you're not hoisting, that's what I was trying to say, and I botched it. If you're not hoisting a trophy at the end of the year, you're a loser. And technically speaking, that's true. But for a team that halfway through the season was having a discussion about whether or not it was time to move on from the guy, I'm going to say, as far as the L goes, it really wasn't on him. It really wasn't. I thought the schemes, I thought the X's and O's were good enough to beat Alabama. I think Brad went toe-to-toe with Nate Oates, who is one of the best college basketball coaches all year. If you listen to any of my other outlets and this one, I've been riding on Alabama all year long. I've been talking about Nate Oates all year long. Some of my biggest plays I've given out on the BetQL network were Bama plus, Bama minus, including this entire tournament. When it came down to it, Brad Brownell went toe-to-toe with Nate Oates, and the players didn't execute. I'm sorry to say it. I know it's Lonzo, when we talk NFL or NBA, it's fine to come in here and go, hey, that loss is on player X. We did that with the Carolina Panthers all year. That loss was on this guy, and this guy. It's on them. Hang that L on them. It sucks doing it to college players. It sucks coming in here and running smack. It's not smack. Running analysis that comes across as smack against the college player. But I thought in the game where they needed him the most, PJ Hall was at his most averageness. I thought in a game where he was coming off of an absolute run of a tournament, you had guys like Hunter who they weren't themselves. In fact, the only guy that really felt like he lived up to what he was needed to be, not supposed to be, was needed, it was required of him to be, was Shefflin. He's the only guy that stepped up in that game and hit his marks.
He was tired by the end of the game.
Oh, it looked exhausted.
He looked worn out for sure. And, I mean, he was in everything. He did struggle with his free throws, but he was in everything.
Yeah, that's it. I think there was one guy. I think there was one guy that truly shouldered the load, and it was Ann Shefflin. All right, let's look at a couple of texts that have come in. 71307 is the number. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Fan Rob, please don't tell us you're leaving anytime soon. You guys are the one that got me into sports radio, and I've kept my radio on this entire time. No, Lonzo and I are here, man. Mainly because why the hell would I go anywhere without Lonzo when he wins me all these awards?
All right, we're here as far as we know. As far as we know, we're good.
I do have to tell you, this morning I had to change the password on my computer, and once I did it, it locked me out from the system. And I had my moment of, oh, well, it's been fun. It's been real. I've enjoyed it. They locked me out of the network. It's been good.
And I had the same problem Saturday, and I thought, man, did they just not tell me? It is Saturday. Should I start pulling everything off the walls now? I mean, I don't know.
Texas said, yep, the NCAA has proven their ineptitude once again, as did the SCHSL when they played a play-in game this past season at Erskine College, and the high school teams playing had to shoot from beyond the college three-point line. Yep, didn't check that out beforehand. Both inept entities. Yeah, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. This is, I mean, getting the floor right is like basic. Texas said, my dad gave me a piece of advice too. If you want the job done right, do it yourself. Again, the NCAA doesn't build floors, but the NCAA does legislate what they're supposed to look like. And I can go ahead and tell you, Zoe, from this point forward, in the men's and women's side, from now on, as soon the second the last hammer, the last mallet hits that floor to knock that last piece of hardwood in place, there's going to be an NCAA rules dude or dudette who is going to hit every single floor with the tape measure from end line to end line, sideline to sideline, and every line in between them.
All you need, Gene Hackman, you wouldn't have got away with that with him. Hackman would have noticed right away.
Hey, you got to do better than that.
Remember Hoosiers? He had them bring the tape measure with them.
Yep. You got to do better than that. It just, especially at a point in time where college sports are such a big-time moving target, you cannot have a world in which you can't get the damn floor right. That's basic stuff. Texas said, I just passed the car with a sticker that said, keep Portland weird. They're lost. Okay. Texas said, defense and free throws win championships. Clemson got outplayed and Brownell got outcoached again. Oh, my dude. Yes, defense wins championships. But there's the other half of that coin, which is good offense beats good defense. It just does. Look at UConn. Illinois had a good defense. UConn went on a 30-0 run. The best defense in the country is giving up a lot of points to UConn. And they're giving up a bunch of points to Alabama. All year long, Alabama was trying to be the greatest show on hardwood. All year long, they killed teams with a fast-paced, wide open, long-range offense. And all year teams couldn't stop them. You're just the most recent casualty. And by the way, I mean, I know you can teach a kid form. I know you can teach a kid form. I know you can teach a kid, muscle memory and all those things that you learn about when you're a Ute. Brad Brownell can't go out there and coach you on how to not go 50% from the free throw line. There's not much Brad can do when his team is going 8 of 16 from the stripe. There's not much that you can do when your team just if you make half of the missed free throws, that's a 4-point basketball game. Quick question. What is Brad Brownell supposed to do in that spot? If Lonzo coaches up a new producer and he comes in here and 9 out of 10 segments, he forgets to turn the sound on or the mic on or play music or whatever.
You act like that hasn't happened before.
And what happens in those spots? Unless you are the great one, somebody's going to get a talking to. And if you keep doing it after you get a talking to, eventually, hey, man, sorry. Nothing personal. You're just not cut out for this job. Good luck for your future endeavors.
Whatever it is, you don't have it.
Yeah, that's it. Brad can't go out there and shoot free throws for you. Let's see. April said, good morning, fellas. I'm here for my crow. If you choose to serve it up, medium rare, please. Boy, talk about complete decimation. Don't worry about it, April. Final 4 games are this Saturday. Next Monday, going into the national championship game, will be the time where we start. You kicked my I'm not going to talk smack. I got no room to talk smack. Texture said perimeter defense was rough, but 3 for 11 on free throws in the second half was the biggest difference in my opinion. Yeah, that's it. That's it. 100%. No questions asked. Texture said, if making the Elite 8 is a choke job, I'll take a choke job every year. Yes. Yes. You did what out of 350 teams across college basketball? You did what 8 teams were able to do. In America, 8 teams got to where you got, including, by the way, that team across the state that was supposed to be the pride and joy this year. You outlasted them by like multiple rounds. There is nothing to wince at. There is nothing to hand Brad a pink slip over. You outperformed everything. The expectations for me this year were a Sweet 16. That was the expectation. And a lot of that had to do with it being a prove-it year. This was a prove-it thing for me. Sweet 16 was a prove-it thing for me. You made it to the Elite 8. I mean, if that's a bad job by Brad, you must be one of those people that goes, it's championship or it's a waste of a year. And I don't know how to address that, to be honest with you. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we got plenty more to talk about on the Rob Brown radio program. We got some NFL news and notes we need to get to. Somebody tried to say on national radio, you know, there are hot take artists everywhere. And I've said for years, I understand the art of the hot take. I even respect people who get real good at it. But there are some hot takes that should just get you fired immediately. And I heard one this weekend about JJ McCarthy. And I want to talk a little NFL draft when we come back. Rob Alonso and you on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live read, and we're coming right back. Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. right, y'all. We're back. Thanks for hanging in there.
I'm PJ Glasser, BetSmarter, BetQL, and download the BetMGM app today.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early, so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts, so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more, up to $100. In store states, visit staples.com/print for details.
Baseball is back, basketball is heating up, and the NFL Draft is right around the corner. Listen to the latest on the teams you love with the free Odyssey app. The biggest sports radio stations in the country, providing unrivaled local coverage of your teams, all in one place. Exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and team executives, streaming live and always available on demand. Stay in the know with your favorite teams with Odyssey. ACY. Download the free Odyssey app today.
Today, remaining warm with clouds and sun, high of 78.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric.
At Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric, we offer flexible scheduling to meet your needs. Call Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric today, or skip the line and book online. CorleyPro.com. That's CorleyPro.com.
Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey app. Missed a jaw-dropping moment? No worries.
The Odyssey app makes it easy.
With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Rob Brown, Jim Rome, and more. Don't miss a beat. Just hit Rewind with the Odyssey app on the Fan Upstate. Your guide to the gridiron. The maestro of the match.
No one of that name, Nolan, was on these airwaves.
So it is NFL draft season, and obviously with the Carolina Panthers having to wait until pick 33 to find their next player, there's a lot of discussion that's going to go around picks 1 through 32, and a large part of the reason why we would have these conversations in Carolina, aside from the fact that we just love NFL football. The other aspect of it is what happens from 1 to 32 may have a dramatic impact on what is available at 33 and 39. So it's been about time to lock in. It's been in about time to start getting familiar with the players and faces that could end up going different places in the NFL draft, which is now, I believe, 27 days away. And as I was doing that this weekend, I was flipping around different radio stations. I've told you guys one of my hobbies is listening to different sports channels from different cities. And right now, one of my favorite things to do is go listen to sports talk channels on the Odyssey app. AUDACY, grab it, put it on your phone, and make sure you heart the Fan Upstate so you can listen to our programming all the time, no matter where you are. I like to go listen to Odyssey channels out of places that have high draft picks, Chicago, Washington. I like to listen to radio stations out of teams that are in flux, like Denver, Colorado, which is very interesting, like the Dallas Cowboys, who, you know, Jerry and Steven are all in, as you can tell by the fact that they are not signing anybody during the free agency period. And, oh, by the way, just for the bleeps and giggles, apparently, you remember last year when they let Ezekiel Elliott go and they had to kind of try to pin the blame on Zeke and his failures on Zeke? Remember all that? Apparently, they're so all in that despite the fact that Derrick Henry was available, despite the fact that they had Tony Pollard on that team, the smoke, the tea around the NFL right now is that they are going to bring back Ezekiel Elliott to play running back next year.
Well, he's familiar to the system and probably still good friends with the quarterback and,
True.
For chemistry and other reasons, why not?
True, but remember, the reason he didn't work out in Dallas the first time was, of course, Ezekiel Elliott. But he was gone for a year, so now he's going to be good.
By the way, early on he was excellent. He just got old, and probably still old, I'm guessing.
I am unaware of the secret to anti-aging being found in New England. He's 28 years old. So he didn't hit that 30 shelf yet.
Half shirts make you younger.
It makes you feel younger. Anyway, this is not a Dallas Cowboys segment. All right. I'll leave that to Cole Bryson, who's got plenty of hot takes on that. Instead, I will say this. I enjoy flipping channels. I enjoy listening to NFL fans discuss and debate their team and their team's needs and their team's desired actions in the NFL draft, football Christmas. So yesterday, I was listening to a little radio out of Denver, Colorado. And Denver, obviously, right now, everything that happened with Russell Wilson, everything that's happened with Sean Payton, the fact that they believe that the fault was all in Russell Wilson, even though it definitely was not. The thought right now is, what does Denver do at the quarterback position? Because the best option they have on the table right now is Jarrett Stidham. And all due respect to Jarrett Stidham, I don't think Jarrett Stidham is the guy.
He's better than you and me.
For sure. I can also go on the record and say, Lonzo, neither you nor I is quarterbacking the Denver Broncos to a Super Bowl this year. Better than me doesn't get you anywhere.
By the way, no one is coaching or playing on a team
to get the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not.
You are correct.
Yeah, you're being disrespectful to another team in the West.
You are absolutely correct. So, I think that listening to Denver might be the most interesting, might be the most compelling team because they do have the ammo and the ability to trade up. They do have plenty of room to make a move to go find a guy, whether it's through a trade, whether it's through the draft, whether it's through free agency. There's opportunity there. But as I listened to Denver radio yesterday, I heard a take that blew my mind. I heard a take from a host in Denver that was lobbying for Denver to end up with a quarterback, which makes sense. Denver's sitting on the 12th pick right now. Denver's got the opportunity and the capital to move up. There are multiple signal callers in this draft. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, Michael Pratt, Jordan Travis, Sam Hartman, Joe Milton III. These are all guys that had success. That's 11 quarterbacks right now. Now, obviously, where you draw the step down in talent from one to the next is subjective. And I think there is an important, healthy mix of taking what a guy was able to do versus a guy what was and what they were set up to do wherever they played college ball, and trying to draw the line between he accomplished this because he was talented and he accomplished this because he had great wide receivers like Jaden Daniels, or an excellent head coach that knows how to run an offense like JJ McCarthy. And that's the job of scouts and an NFL GM, is to figure out where those two arrows point next to a guy's achievements and accomplishments. So I'm listening to this guy in Denver talk radio, sitting on the number 12 pick. And a Broncos fan called in and said, hey, man, listen, I think we have got to swing for the fences right now. We've got to go get a quarterback. We got to go get one. We've got to go get somebody. And he even went so far as to say, we got to go get somebody to give the Jordan Love treatment to. We know we're not going to be competitive this upcoming year. We know we're not going to be dudes this year. So we need to go find somebody that we can put into the system. We can let them learn for a year. We can utilize this and next season to build around the guy. And I thought that's a great take. We saw the development of Jordan Love in the post-Rodgers Packers, and it was a good way to handle that. And then the host said, I agree, but the best way to build around a guy, the best way to build around a guy is to make sure they know you're our guy while also protecting as much capital. And the host said, I'm going to tell you who we make a move for right now. He said, what this team needs is consistency. What this team needs is reliability. And I said, okay, I mean, that's speaking in cliche, sure. But it's not unfair, especially when you're talking about an NFL quarterback. It's not unfair. So who's that guy? And the guy said, I think we need to trade up. He said, I think we can trade up to somewhere around number 5, around number 6. He said, honestly, I'd probably go to 4 with Arizona because there's one guy that I want. I want him more than Jaden Daniels. I want him more than Drake May. I want him more than Caleb Williams. And I said, no freaking way is this guy going to say JJ McCarthy. And he said, JJ McCarthy. And I said, no, why? What? Dude. This guy said, I want JJ McCarthy. And I said, why? I said, this is a quarterback that on multiple occasions last year, when Michigan was in a game, they started doing what? Not throwing the ball, not trusting JJ McCarthy.
Well, that was after a certain incident, and it just kind of looks kind of like maybe that's the reason why. But yeah, after the Connor Stallions thing, suddenly JJ just handed the ball off a lot.
Sure. And listen, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The point of college football is not to just be a resume builder for the NFL for certain players, but it's to win games. And I understand that if I've got a Blake Corum in the backfield, I'm going to use Blake Corum as often as I can. But having a Blake Corum should be supplemented if you have a top 5 draft pick at quarterback. That should be something you also do, not the only thing that you do. JJ McCarthy this year threw for a 72% completion percentage, 6th in the country. He was very accurate. Total QBR of 88.2, 3rd in FBS. And looked really efficient on play action. These are the stats that stood out to me. Completed 76% of his passes off of play action out of 80 attempts. And, took full advantage when a team vacated a certain spot on the field in order to protect the run. Of course, it does make it, as I mentioned a moment ago, that much easier when the back half of a play action is Blake Corum's about to get the ball again. But this is not a guy that I trust his decision-making on the field. Do you know why he was so good on the play action? Because there weren't decisions to be made. On a play action pass, there's not a ton of decisions that need to be made. The point of a play action pass is to get a defender out of position. A good quarterback is going to turn his eyes up the field after the fake handoff. He's going to find which defender moved, and he's going to throw to that route. He's going to throw to that target. He really struggled with that this year. He struggled understanding when the check down was the right route. There's been a lot of smack about Bo Nix out of Oregon. The nickname Captain Checkdown has been handed to him. But here's the thing. Oregon had good receivers. Troy Franklin, one of, in my opinion, probably the top 5 in the draft this year. I'd say top 5's fair for Troy Franklin. But JJ McCarthy could not figure out when to go to the check down enough times versus Bo Nix, who recognized, my stud's covered. Let me give it to the guy who's not. And in this case, it happens to be the running back. And you'll have to remind me, what did the Oregon Ducks do this year behind Bo Nix? Wasn't it make the playoffs? Didn't they make the playoffs this year? Yeah, I thought they did. I thought so. So, to me, JJ McCarthy is a kind of a one-dimensional quarterback. You kind of have to run a play-action offense, or you kind of have to avoid a play-action offense around the guy in the NFL, because the NFL's wide receivers are not going to get sprung alpha play action like they do in college. And while he was accurate on the play action, the decision-making around it was questionable. I am concerned what happens when he gets to the NFL and he's looking at 5-route combinations. Can he make those decisions efficiently? Can he make those decisions quickly? Because at the last level, he didn't. Everything that he did well at the last level all circled back around to Blake Corum, not back to JJ McCarthy. So I'm struggling to find out how it is that I got a guy in Denver that's trying to tell me that JJ McCarthy is suddenly a top 5 pick. Somebody make it make sense to me. A guy that in games against, for instance, Penn State and Ohio State, good defenses. When Michigan was, Joey just corrected me. Oregon didn't make the playoffs. They lost to Washington, who lost in the national championship game, or else they would have made the playoff. That's right. That's what I get for getting carried away. In an offense that relied exclusively on Blake Corum, and in not one, but 2 separate games against the best defenses they faced all year, Ohio State and against Penn State, in the second half of the Penn State game, what did JJ McCarthy throw it? I think twice. And one of those was a pass interference call. The other one was, I think, a completion to, was it Blake Corum? I don't even remember.
So the solution to your problems in Denver, in the AFC West, where the quarterbacks are pretty good, they're not bad there. You're bringing in JJ McCarthy. Okay.
I just don't see JJ McCarthy as a guy that especially if I'm a Denver Bronco team that is in desperate waters right now.
You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert, and you got whoever the Raiders are playing at quarterback, who will still be better than JJ McCarthy.
I'm trying to figure out how, if you're Denver and you're going to make the trade up for a quarterback, how is JJ McCarthy the guy you're making the move for? How is JJ McCarthy the guy you're making the move for? If I'm going in for a quarterback, I'm making the call to New England, I'm making the call to Arizona, or I'm sticking at 12. If I'm going to make a move for a quarterback, I'm going to make a move for a guy that either I know is going to be a star at the next level, a guy like Jaden Daniels, or a guy that at least has shown me a little bit of everything to be a star at the next level, like Michael Penix Jr. Like even to me, a guy that I'm not super high on in the face of draft scouts everywhere. I am higher on Jaden Daniels than all the draft scouts, and I am lower than Drake May on all the draft scouts. Lonzo, I'm going Drake May 10 out of 10 times over JJ McCarthy. I don't know why the hell Denver, a team that is in the straits right now, thinks that the move up to JJ McCarthy is the right call.
Well, maybe this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Possibly. Could be. Maybe.
Could
be. I don't know. Maybe.
Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a moment. Wrap up hour number 3. The Rob Brown Show rolls on next. It is the Fan Upstate.
Hey,
all right, guys, we're going to step away for just a minute. Y'all stay right there. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Damn, on a Monday.
Yeah.
On a Monday. Rough start. Dan, the Superfan Man, wrote in and said, I was fully expecting to wake up and hear the Weenus and Pitt show today, even marked my calendar. Yeah, we talked about it, and then I just completely forgot last week that today was.
Rob wasn't as enthusiastic about it as I was, so I didn't pursue it further. I mentioned it a few times, like, yeah, okay. And it's like, because I was going to have the whole thing ready, so you can blame Rob.
Blame Rob.
And we get these. See, here's the thing. Because some people have gone too far on the radio on April Fool's Day.
Message out the wazoo.
I mean, yeah, to the point where you're like, you know what? It's not worth it because we're going to do something that could possibly get us legally in trouble or at least end up at the boss's office for like an hour. And who wants to do that? So it's like, nah, you know what? Let's just not do it.
Let me also say this.
No fun here.
Let me also say this. April Fool's Day used to be a lot of fun. April Fool's Day has been ruined by bad prank artists. This is a thing that I fully blame. I'm going to go full old man yells at cloud here. This is one of the things that I fully square up on influencers over. Because pranks used to be fun pranks. They were pranks. They were harmless. They were jokes. They were things that once they were over, all parties involved could laugh at. These things used to be fun. They're whatever. And now influencers have gotten to the point where the pranks aren't harmless. They're not funny. They don't benefit anybody. And they genuinely went overboard. If you can pull off a good prank, a prank that everybody, when it's over, can laugh at, I'm going to give it to you. I had a buddy of mine a handful of years ago. Let me tell you a harmless prank. Maybe this is one that the kids go, that's real dumb, Grandpa, knock it off. But I had a buddy a number of years ago down in Destin, a guy by the name of Bobby, who pulled a great prank. He showed up to his office on April 1st, early in the morning, and he handed out to a bunch of teachers at his school, he handed out what he said were cake pops. But what he did, Zoe, was he went and he got a bunch of uncooked Brussels sprouts and he dipped them all in chocolate. So you thought you were getting a cake pop, you bit into it, it turned out to be a raw Brussels sprout. The hilarious thing about that prank was he handed them out all individually. And Bobby's a super nice guy, so nobody even thought about it. And it was a great prank because he was getting reactions throughout the entire day. It wasn't like, but it was like one after another. It's a great prank. People's pranks nowadays just aren't as funny anymore. They're just not as good anymore. And again, maybe this is old man yells at cloud. But I feel like it used to be a great prank day, and now it's just gone down the tubes with lame stuff. Stuff that's not funny.
So a raw Brussels sprout, couldn't you break your teeth on that? I don't know.
I mean, they're still soft. They're just gross.
I mean, well, okay.
And I'm not anti-Brussels sprout. You cook up your good Brussels sprouts, little sea salt across the top of them. That's good stuff.
I don't know about the sea salt, but I like Brussels sprouts, so I'm not anti-Brussels sprouts. It's just like if you're expecting cake, so you're expecting your teeth to just go right through it, and suddenly something impedes it, that could get you in trouble. I'm just saying that could have. It is harmless to a degree, but maybe it could have not been harmless if someone's dentures came out or something. I don't know.
Again, I will also say, as somebody who's got one relative who wears dentures that have come out at a table, more often than not, it's hilarious. All right. It's very funny.
It can also scare children half to death because, yeah, I mean, it can do that for sure. This is a day, James says on the stream, today is the worst day of the year. Since social media, it's gotten a whole lot worse because people can be really fooled by headlines and things that they see. And think that it's fact when it's not. You should always check your sources on the internet anyway. Get 3 or 4, maybe 25 if you can. But today is pretty bad. So.
If you fall for a fake headline on the internet, that's your fault. And don't get me wrong, I have done it for sure. I have done it. There's a fake wash bomb account on the internet right now that almost got me the other day. Almost got me. It's got the same setup, same picture and everything, except instead of wash, they use like WOIJ or something. They stuck an extra letter in there that it looked real close if you were just glancing by. And it was like Draymond Green suspended for the year after having to be separated from Coach Steve Kerr in practice, which is a story I would 100% believe.
Yeah, same here.
100% believe because Draymond Green sucks. Okay. And I almost fell for it, but I'm like, that seems a bit far-fetched. Let me look at it. And it turns out it was just a fake account. But remember, for years, my favorite Twitter account of all time, @Arn Schefter, who went with @Arn because if you're just kind of scrolling by quickly, the R in the end certainly looks like a passable Adam Schefter. And he used to tweet like fake trade rumors and fake contract signings that constantly fool people. It wasn't that active this year, but going up through the last couple of years, I used to mention how people were getting @Arned because @Arn Schefter was smoking chumps. You get fooled by a fake internet headline today, that's on you, dude. That's on you. It's the social media era. If something big enough
sometimes you want to believe though, and so you see something like, I'm not so the better ones, the ones that might get you, are the ones that you could actually see happening. It's not the outlandish stuff. It's the things, this politician did this. Oh yeah,
Draymond Green beat up Steve Kerr.
Right,
100%. I get it, but again, you're still going to look kind of foolish if you go react, if you go pop off to. And again, the social media world is about reactions more than it is anything else. If you go pop off on a story like Draymond beat up Steve Kerr and you get got, you just kind of got to eat it. You just kind of got to take the L and move on. That's on you. I'm talking about the people who do bad pranks. I am talking about the people who go out and there's one kid going around right now. I don't know his name, and if I did, I wouldn't say it. But there's one kid out there that his whole thing is he's got this big bodyguard guy, and he goes up and he walks around crowded areas and he bumps into people intentionally. And when those people square up on this little jackass, he gets his big bodyguard to step in between them and like chest up to him to scare him. And that's his prank. That's not a good prank. That's a bad prank. And these are the things that have caught on lately, and it's driving me up a wall. I miss when April Fool's Day was a fun day. You'll notice there have been no pranks on the show today. And it's because I miss when it was a good day and it's not anymore.
As far as you know, there have been no pranks on the show today. Let's talk about the listeners.
We have an hour left. I'm not saying I will or won't warn you. I'll just say we have an hour left. Sports Flash.
Let's face it, me doing sports flashes, it's a prank every single day. Duke wanted payback for their early exit in the ACC tournament to NC State. Instead, the Wolfpack escorted them from a second consecutive tournament, because you don't turn your back on the Wolfpack, with a 76-64 victory, including 29-20 from DJ Burns and DJ Horn. And now they are in the Final Four. NC State will get the one-seeded Purdue in the Final Four after the Boilermakers knocked off Tennessee 72-66. Dalton Connect did all he could. I think it's Dalton Neck, by the way, scoring 37, but no other volunteer scored double digits in the loss. The 7-4 Zach Edey scored 40 and had 16 boards to advance Purdue to the Final Four. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire, with Cole Bryson and Diesel. They'll get you up to date, wire to wire.
TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our
Oh
passion
no.
is taxes and helping
What is
you
going on?
IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS.
Oh no.
End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Avenue.
That's just ridiculous. Okay, fine. Time to troubleshoot.
Regenerative medicine. If your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Surgery, steroids, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results, using your body's own power to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mintal Scheinkup. Dr. Scheinkup is a pioneer.
Just a little bit of panic here, but I'm fixing it.
Tons of research, teaching, and publishing, and he wants you to get relief with a needle, not a knife. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more about some exciting options. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you
Maybe.
long-term relief with no downtime. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation.
Certain programs on my computer are liking up.
864-448-3772, 864-448-3772.
The GTI Tool Show is back.
Be good now though, cause yeah.
Friday 9 to 6 and Saturday 9 till the tools are gone. Exit 27
It,
at the intersection of
I did it wrong on purpose, Trey, but thank you for noticing. Just like
April Fools.
Just like connect, whatever his name is. Yeah, I was supposed to, add to. If he's offended, I'll shake his hand and say, "Go Big Ten," and we'll be good.
It just means more.
Sometimes my funny is only funny to me, but that's okay. At least I think so, as long as I don't get called to the office over it. If Rob doesn't get it, he's just being mean. That's what heels do.
If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773. That's AmericanEagle.com 773 network.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3, the official sports voice of QQB Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Live from the Philadelphia.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents me to win.
Yeah. Manufactured locally for the This is the Rob Brown Show.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good as we enter hour number 4. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What's up, world? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo, and if you'll stick around for the final hour of the show.
That'll be great, man.
You want to be a part of it? You can do so. Phone line's open for you, 844-326-3663. That's the number to the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas Fan Phone, 844-326-3663. You may shoot us a text at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. You can tweet X post me at the Rob Brown Show. You can tweet X post Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet X post all of us at the Fan Upstate. Quick programming reminder. I'm out tomorrow. We will have CBS National for you. I will be out as I am headed up to Charlotte, North Carolina tonight. Going to go watch a little NBA action this evening as the Hornets host the Brooklyn Nets. Then tomorrow morning, will be at Spire Motorsports, the NASCAR garage just outside of Charlotte.
4-star, 5-star, what you doing tonight?
4-star,
2-star,
5-star?
Comfort Inn, Holiday Inn.
Oh, no, we're doing, we're staying at the same hotel that the ACC Media Days are in.
Okay, that's the, yeah, that counts. It does.
1-1.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ordinarily.
So Weston, right?
No, it's the Hilton Garden Inn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what room are you in?
I have no idea, and I wouldn't tell you if I did.
Okay. Well, I just in case, I mean, it is April 1st, so maybe someone might want to order you some pizza or something.
I mean, that's fine. The problem is you and I both know that's not what's getting delivered to my door.
Well, 35 pizzas. I mean,
Also not what's getting delivered to my door. I would end up with like the last singing telegram in America by like a dude in a thong. That's what would happen with our listeners, without a doubt. Anyway, I will be at Spire Motorsports Garage tomorrow morning, so off. And then when I return on Wednesday, hopefully we'll have story time with Rob Brown, baby. Look forward to that. So there's your programming note. If you tune in tomorrow, you will not hear the Weakness and Pitch show. You will hear CBS Sports Radio, and then the rest of us will.
It's a shame that didn't happen today because that would have worked out really good. But then they would have thought it was an April Fool's joke and kept waiting for us to show up at some point, and then we wouldn't. That would have been funny.
That actually would have been really funny. But that's not how. Unfortunately, Spire Motorsports didn't say, "Hey, Rob Brown, what's best for you? What day's best for you, bud? What day can we make something happen for you?" They said Tuesday or you don't get to do it. And I said Tuesday's good. Tuesday's real good. All right. We got plenty more I want to get to. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I like this tournament. And I like this tournament because this tournament is, to me, seeing a return of the importance of the big man. The big fellas, to me, are dictating this tournament. You got DJ Burns at NC State. You got Zach Edey for Purdue. This tournament has been a lot of fun if you like big boy basketball, and I do. But Zach Edey kind of made me LOL a little bit in his post-game press conference.
Stop with all the letters. Gosh.
It's 2024. Catch up. Zach Edey kind of.
Which you should put on your steak, by the way.
No, you should not put on your steak, nor should you cook it over medium rare.
And you can do that at the new steakhouse that Patrick Mahomes.
Do not go to a steakhouse and order anything over medium rare, and do not put ketchup on it.
Don't
waste the steak.
Don't let someone like Rob Brown tell you what to do, or anybody for that matter. Zach Edey
does not put ketchup on a steak because he's a normal person.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Zach Edey, after the Purdue Boilermakers knocked off the 2-seeded Tennessee Volunteers in the Elite Eight to punch their ticket to the Final Four, got to the microphone in the post-game press conference, and he said this.
I get to pay him back. Like there was so many coaches that looked over me. Like you could name a program, I can name a coach that looked over me. The Tennessee, Quick Barnes is a great coach, but he was in a bunch of our practice, looked over me. Like it's kind of been the story of my life. People have doubted me. People look past me, and can't do that anymore.
That is someone that size should speak like that. Absolutely. This is the first time I've ever heard him talk. It really, literally, this is the first time I've ever heard him talk. I'm like, yep, that's what I thought.
Zach Edey had a real good game. 40 points against the Volunteers. I heard this take, and it was kind of interesting to me. Because on one hand, Zach Edey is 7 feet 4 inches tall. Ain't nobody looking over you, dog. Shaq don't look over you.
And you can't teach. You said Shaq.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Neither can William Shatner.
Okay.
Shaq can't look over Zach Edey. He's 7'4". Let me tell you why this quote bothered me a little bit. And I might be winning Purdue the national championship with this because, as Lonzo has pointed out, sometimes disrespect is the key. And maybe this is a little bit of disrespect. Zach Edey goes 7'4". Zach Edey did not want to be a basketball player until the very end of his college career. Zach Edey wanted to be a hockey player. Now, I know hockey. I enjoy hockey. I don't sit here and pretend to be a hockey genius, but I'm relatively
Could you explain the blue line to me later?
I can explain the blue line to you right now. Sure can. If you hear somebody called a blue liner, that's a defenseman. That means they're playing the last blue line. Their job is to make sure the offense does not get across that blue line without being escorted by a defender. That's a blue liner. In case that ever comes up in conversation.
Are there thin blue lines in hockey?
Nope, regular blue lines.
Okay.
One on both sides of the ice. The two blue lines separate the attacking and defending third from the rest of the ice. So if you play on the blue line as a defender, you call it a blue line.
If the blue lines were disproportional, you think hockey players would notice?
All right, so Zach Edey. Zach Edey scores 40, says, oh, coaches overlooked me. I don't know why. And I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't even think this is a great radio topic, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's interesting to me. I get real frustrated with the nobody respects us stuff. I guess you find your motivation wherever you can find your motivation. And if you have to make up that motivation, but that motivation works, it's still motivation. It's still justifiable. It's kind of like last year when Travis Kelce busted out the nobody gave us a chance. Nobody respected us.
Oh, your tone makes me so mad. So I get it. And I'm not joking there. That tone makes me angry. And your tone alone is disrespectful to the Chiefs.
You do understand that that's a dumb take, right? That nobody gave the Kansas City Chiefs a chance.
I don't know anyone who took what he said the way that you did.
How the hell was I supposed to take it? Nobody gave us a chance. Everybody had you as favorites.
No one gave them a chance because they lost Tyreek Hill, and it was everywhere. Them talking about it. We've had this discussion on the air. You see it one way, I see it another. My way's right, your way is like out there.
Bro,
I mean,
like the season
like
as
in another dimension.
odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Did they?
Yes.
Did they?
Yes.
Are you sure?
That is the definition of giving you a chance. You are the betting favorite. I win the least money if I bet on you. So Zach Edey said nobody gave me a shot. And you'd look and you'd go, well, I mean, that's crazy, right? He's 7'4", which, yes, that would be crazy. And for the record, Zach Edey came into college basketball as a 7'4", 3-star prospect. That his offer sheet was indeed pretty thin. It was pretty thin. The offer sheet, I don't remember exactly who was on it, but it was like Boise State caliber teams. There were no blue bloods to be found on Zach Edey's offer sheet. But what kind of blew my mind about it was when I went and read the backstory of Zach Edey. Because that comment, the fact that he called Rick Barnes out by name was wild to me. The fact that after knocking Rick Barnes out of the tournament in the Elite Eight, the fact that he called him out by name and said, dude didn't want to give me a shot, now he paid for it, is kind of interesting to me. So I went and looked up the backstory. Turns out when Zach Edey was growing up, Zach Edey didn't like basketball, or at least didn't want to be a basketball player. Zach Edey wanted to be a hockey player.
Does he say what position? I mean, a goalie?
He's 7'4". He's a blue liner.
Okay.
Gotta be.
Dude, I don't know. Just because he should be something doesn't mean that's what he wanted to be.
It's the equivalent of him going, I'm 7'4" and I want to play basketball. Which position? Bro, there's one. There's one position.
So you're saying people over 7 foot can't have handles, can't distribute the ball.
I'm saying they're
can't
not
shoot
playing
3-pointers.
the point. I'm saying they're not. You're not going to see. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your starting point guard, Victor Wembanyama. No.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me with all the hype he got coming into this season. And
for the record, Wemby can shoot a little bit.
Yeah, okay. and Kevin Garnett, almost 7 foot tall.
Yep.
And he can do a lot of those things that you're saying that I'm just,
he's almost 7 foot tall. He's not 7'4". The difference between almost 7 feet tall and 7'4" is the difference between 6'8" and 6'4".
It's
There's a big difference.
24, bigger, faster, stronger. I don't think it's out of the realm of the possibility that someone that size could do those things.
All right.
Especially if they're from Europe. He's not, though. So
The interesting thing about Zach Edey is there's 2 reasons he was a 3-star recruit. The 2 reasons were, number 1, he didn't want to be a basketball player. That's not a secret. It's hard to keep that information under wraps when you're 7'4". I'm only 6'3", but when I was coming up through high school at 6'3", you'll never guess which sport people asked me if I played. Basketball. You're 7'4". You play basketball. Now, I'm not saying that every person who is 7'4" by default must love basketball. What I am saying is if you don't love basketball, don't be shocked when people aren't interested in you. The second thing is Zach Edey scored 40 points playing the post against Tennessee, a team that, frankly, did not have a big guy. This is why I've said this tournament has brought out the best in the 5 spot, because whether it's Edey or Burns or any of these other cats, every team that's still dancing has a bona fide big guy. The teams that do not have a bona fide big guy, like Tennessee, the teams that had a bona fide big guy who did not show up in the tournament, like Clemson, they've all been bounced at this point. Zach Edey plays an old school 5. You're not going to see Zach Edey stepping out and handling the ball outside of the 3-point line. You'll see some of these other guys do that. And in a day and age where guys like Nikola Jokic are shooting from 3 feet behind the arc and shooting well from 3 feet behind the arc, in a day and age where you got big guys being big guys and being big guys consistently, a guy like Zach Edey doesn't really register anymore. Because you remember, if you were listening earlier in the show, I said that basketball has become a almost positionless game. 1s play 3, 3s play 4, 4 plays 5, 5s play 3s. It's almost a positionless game at this point, and Zach Edey's a guy who's locked into a position. A guy who's locked into his position. He is a 5. He does not step out and play the 4. He cannot handle the ball up at the elbow like a 3. If you don't love the game, if you want to be something else, and on top of that, you are a one-position player, yeah, dude, like people aren't going to be interested in you. Again, get your motivation wherever you can get it, even if you got to make it up. If you got to tell yourself a lie, but that lie drives you to get the best out of you, go on.
I mean, the Michael Jordan method.
Yeah. Jordan was well known for taking comments that were not personal from other players and building an entire vendetta against those guys. But as is the case with most things in sports, it's only dumb if it doesn't work. It's clearly working for this cat. It's clearly working for him because my dude scored 40 in an Elite Eight game, carried his team almost by himself to a Final Four, is going to be the favorite going in to that Final Four matchup. And by the way, if they beat NC State in the Final Four, it's going to be because of Zach Edey getting up over DJ Burns, my big special boy who I'll go to war for. I love that guy. This made up disrespect stuff in sports just drives me up a wall. My guy, you didn't love basketball. You didn't want to play basketball. And once you finally started to play basketball, you are locked in as a 5 and only a 5. I can't move you anywhere else. You're playing block, paint, block, and that's it. I can't send you up to play at the elbow that often. I certainly can't have you as the emergency escape outlet outside of the 3-point line because you are absolutely not a threat out there. They're going to let you get the rock at the top of the key. Then they're just going to go guard everybody else and put 2 on the best player because you're not a liability out there. If you put the ball on the floor, somebody's going to swipe it. And if you launch a 3, I've got an extra rebounder down low because you're not there. You got to stop, man. You got to stop. You weren't overlooked. You didn't want to be there. You weren't overlooked. I played basketball with a kid in high school. I've told you about him before. One of my favorite people in my history, a guy by the name of Mike Doe. Mike Doe was 7'2". Mike Doe was on. He was a senior when I was a junior, the year that my basketball team went to the state championship. Lost to the Haines City Hornets. Michael Doe was 7'2", and you can't teach that. And Mike Doe didn't love basketball. He played it because he knew it was going to get him a scholarship. He wanted to go to school, and he wanted to go to school for something else, which he ultimately did. But when it was recruiting time, a 7'2" young man playing basketball did not have Duke and UNC and Kansas sending recruits, Indiana sending recruits to Chalk-Tahatchee High School to watch him play. And I remember thinking at that time, why are people not, asking, why are people not coming to watch Mike Doe play ball? He's 7'2" with a mid-range jumper. He's deadly. And
so no scouts at all.
Scouts, but from small schools. From small schools. He didn't have blue bloods there. There was no Kentucky scout coming to Chalk-Tahatchee High School to watch Mike Doe. There were no scouts from Tobacco Row coming to watch him play. And there were folks asking, why not? Why is Mike getting shut out from the blue bloods? And the answer is this: because these schools are real good at knowing about these kids. They know their likes and dislikes, their wants and don't wants. They know their backgrounds. They know their histories. They are, especially these blue blood schools, about to invest tens of thousands of dollars into you. And they, like any business, are going to want results from that. And so if they're going to invest $100,000 into your education in return for you playing basketball, they want to make sure that the kid they're investing $100,000 into is going to give them that value. Turns out they found out real quick Mike Doe didn't love basketball. He liked it in that it was going to earn him a scholarship, but Mike Doe was in it to make scholarship money. He wasn't in it to be a great basketball player. He didn't like basketball. He wasn't in it because he wanted to go win a national championship. He was in it because he knew it was going to get him to a school to go get a degree in the thing he wanted to do, and then he was going to go do that thing. Zach Edey was kind of in that same situation. This was a dude who didn't love basketball. He wanted to play hockey, and eventually he ran out of options because while 7'4" certainly makes you intimidating, 7'4" on skates when everybody has a lower center of gravity than you do doesn't work. It doesn't work. A dude hits you in the hips while you're wearing skates, you're going down. I don't care how much of a beefcake you are. So he went to basketball because that was the sport where his size was going to allow him to be successful. Mike Doe played basketball not because he loved it, but because there was nothing else in the athletic world that a 7'2" guy could do. Too slow to play the outfield in baseball. Too big of a strike zone to play first base. Like there's nothing else you can do. So I just found him calling Rick Barnes out by name. Oh, he overlooked me, disrespect me. Kind of interesting. Nobody gave us a chance. Everyone gave you a chance. Everyone. All right, let's take a break.
You and I both are motivated by people who tell us we can't do something.
100%.
So what's the difference in it?
Like I said,
it's the same thing that he's doing.
If that's where he's got to go to find his motivation, I respect it. If that's where he's got to go to find his zone, I respect it. I would be lying to you to tell you I haven't made stuff up in my head as a justification for doing something. You know, if I don't do this thing, then, and as Lonzo can tell you, there's nobody on planet Earth better than me at going to the worst case scenario. I do it all the time. But man, you just called another dude out. It makes Rick Barnes look silly. I guess that's my problem with it. When you call another dude out, when you call him out by name, and you make him look silly because now everybody in Tennessee is going, wait a minute. There was a 7'4" behemoth that was interested in playing ball and you passed on him? What are you doing? I don't really love that.
Burn.
I don't really love that. Let's take a break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yep. That's exactly it, Joey B. Nobody gave him a chance to stop the people whose entire job is to decide who has the best chance. Also correct. Also correct.
And now, the morning sports spin, powered by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you today that the term student athlete is no more. Long gone are the days where your favorite college player cares about a scholarship. Long gone are the days where your favorite college player cares about being developed on the field. With NIL turning college athletics into the wild, wild west, you can remove the term student off of the phrase. Athletics first, academics second. And the sad thing is, there's no going back.
Wait, stretch a 30 into a 60.
Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
This afternoon, 3 to 7 on the Fan. Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
Ingles Markets is a proud sponsor of the Wire to Wire Sports Spin. From the playing field to the stands to your own living room, Ingles Markets has everything you need to fuel your athlete or satisfy all the hungry fans in your life. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Attention landowners. Got big plans for your land? Tackle all your spring projects with a
Man, Mondays suck as far as sleep schedule goes. It just,
I concur.
I mean, I shouldn't have stayed up till like 2 a.m. Saturday watching MMA, but they got me back. I said they need to do something to get me back, and they've done that. So
I didn't watch it, but it was a good card. Or it looked like a good card.
Chris Weidman was back in there for the
Yep.
second fight after, the guy who lives in South Carolina right now. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was in his corner. I mean, unfortunately, he won. He was going to win anyway, but double eye pokes. And the good advice that he gave to Silva, the guy who was fighting, was every time you get poked on the eye, don't go down. Because he went down after 2 pokes, and he just hit him in the head, started hitting him on the head, and they stopped the fight.
Superchargers, headlights, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And with eBay,
Performance!
is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Stay on your game, all with the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home huge wins.
That was weird.
Ride or die alive.
What are you doing, man? What are you even doing? Stop it. Wesley, come on, dude. It's a good matchup. I mean, and because of last year or whenever it was. It's no different than pushing the matchups anywhere else. I mean, in any sport.
But there's a lot of answers to that. I'm glad you brought that up, Wesley. I'll talk about that.
They're not.
Apple's personal voice, we created AI Diesel and AI Cole. I'm going to take Cole's phone and make him say things he would never say in real life. And how the Lady Gamecocks narrowly avoided the upset.
Diesel and Cole Bryson really bring it on Wire to Wire.
I turn it on and leave it on.
Afternoons 3 to 7 on the Fan Upstate.
Daggum kids.
Robin Lonzo. Call 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FAN-PHONE.
All right, I got 2 things I want to get to in this segment before we get to the end of the radio broadcast. The first is
for the day, the end of the radio broadcast for the day. We're not
the day and tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, you say it with finality, and then some people didn't get why you're not going to be here tomorrow, and they think that was it. this was the last show, and it's we don't believe it's the last
This
show.
is
we'll be,
not the last show.
We'll be back on Wednesday.
Wednesday. So, two things I wanted to get to here. The first is, and both of them brought to the table by different people. The first is my friend, my colleague, my comrade in arms, one half of the afternoon show, Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel, with Diesel and Cole Bryson. I am a big fan of both of these gentlemen and a fan of their show, which airs from 3 to 7 every weekday here on the Fan Upstate.
Cole's all right. He's okay. I mean, you know.
One of us likes Cole a lot. I'm a Cole guy. I'm a fan of Cole Bryson.
He's got a noogable head, you know, someone you just want to give him a headlock and the old noogie.
Because I'm afraid Cole's got that country strong in him. You know what I mean? Like that quiet country strong. Cole's got that temperament of like, he's the nicest guy, but if he pops, he pops.
Well, he does show a lot of hunting pictures.
That's right.
And things like that. Yeah.
That's right.
I ain't scared.
So, just a moment ago, as you were listening to our lovely programming here in the AM portion of the day, you will note that during the 9:20-ish, 22-ish break, we have, of course, the Sports Spin presented by our friends at Ingles. And, of course, every day you will get either a take from Cole Bryson or a take from Diesel. Today, my man, CB, is on the run. And Cole's flash today said, the term student athlete is dead. Gone are the day. By the way, Cole, if you're listening, because I texted him and told him, I said, I'm about to talk about your sports spin if you want to listen so you can respond in the afternoon. He responded, LOL. So I know he's listening. Cole, if you're listening, first off.
See, I don't like what you're saying because you're trying to act like he doesn't already listen. And of course he's listening.
Cole also has stuff to do during the day. All right.
All of which he can have the radio on while he's doing them. So
point here is, I know Cole is listening, whether he listens all 4 hours or 10 minutes, he's listening right now. So Cole, let me say in all sincerity, your thespian Shakespearean delivery of that sports spin was immaculate. A+, 10 out of 10, 5 stars, no notes. Well done.
Acting.
But he said, the days are gone. He didn't say it quite like that, but ballpark. The days are gone of your favorite players caring about scholarships. The days are gone of your favorite players caring about being developed on the field. And I am here to say, with love and respect to Cole Bryson, I'm even doing the heart hands emoji on the stream so he knows it. Couldn't disagree more. Okay? Couldn't disagree more. There are two reasons for that, or two parts that I want to get to. The first is, and I've said this many times. When we talk NIL, I think people think that there is just a ocean of money out there, and that every kid playing every sport everywhere is now just rolling in dough. The reality is that's not correct.
Unless you compare it to other students who don't get that sort of treatment, and then absolutely it will be true.
As I've said many times, you figure out how to do something that puts 120,000 people in a stadium on a Saturday, and then you can make that same money. Okay? That's just the reality of the world.
You by the way, on your island again, and I can't wait for you to try to dissuade Cole from his way of thinking, because you're not going to be able to, because you're like the only one who thinks that way. So
I'm the only person who thinks that the overwhelming majority of college athletes are not making money. No, I'm not. That's just a fact.
Yeah, you are the only one who thinks they're not making money.
I didn't say they. I said the majority of college athletes.
They're all making money.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
no, they're not.
Because they get scholarships. And scholarships is making money.
But that's not what Cole said. What Cole said was they don't care about scholarships or on-field development anymore. And I'm here to say that is painfully untrue in my ever so humble yet frequently correct opinion. Because earning that scholarship and being on the field is what puts you in a position to build a brand that makes you NIL money. If you don't have football, basketball, baseball, whatever, you don't have a brand. You don't have a brand, you don't have NIL. Yes, I'm doing the desk.
Yeah,
I'm that's how serious I am.
I'm afraid you're gonna that hand's gonna move over just a little bit, and you're gonna hit your laptop, and your screen's gonna go dark. Like that never happens.
The second thing is, he said, athletes don't care about on-field development anymore. I think that's a very broad brush that my dude is painting with. I think it's a very broad brush to paint with. I think that are there people who don't care about on-field, on-court, on whatever development? Yeah, I'm sure that there are. And I'm sure that that's not new. I'm sure it's not new. But here's the thing. The crossover element that we are talking about, because I have found that when we talk about NIL, the majority, not everybody, but the majority of people have said to me something along the lines of, Rob, I'm not talking about your everyday run-of-the-mill backup guard. I'm talking about the Caleb Williams and the Drake Mays. I'm talking about the big-time athletes. I'm talking about the kids that are bringing in 7-figure NIL deals, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. And that's fair. But here's the thing. If you are, let's say Caleb Williams becomes the most visible college football player of last year. I don't think it's unfair to say that he was. And let's say that Caleb Williams was making, indeed, $5 million a year in NIL deals. Let's say that number, I believe it was either The Athletic or Sports Illustrated that reported that number. Let's say that number is gospel. I would like to point out to you that Bryce Young made a $24 million signing bonus when he became an NFL player. And I am real dumb, but I'm relatively sure that 24 is greater than 10. I'm pretty sure if we started counting, we would get to 10 before we got to 24 because it's a smaller number.
Yeah, but it's different when you're talking about 10,000 and 24,000 as opposed to 10 million and 24 million. Hey, This is the state of the world today. This is the state of football, basketball, whatever sport. They get paid now, get over it. But it doesn't, I mean, it's going to take some people a little bit longer to get over it than others.
Let me
especially people who are so rooted in their team that they care about, let's say, college football. They care about Clemson so much. They care about the school so much. They feel like these people are not doing what they used to do for the team.
So when Cole says that they don't care about development on the field, let me make the point that if you feel like the number one driving motivator for college football players nowadays is money, and again, the majority of them are not making anywhere near life-changing amounts of money. Hell, most of them are probably barely making year-changing amounts of mony.
It's life-changing if you didn't make any money in the first place.
No, it's not. If I hand you $100,
if I am a homeless person on the street and you give me $100, it will make a big deal for me.
Are college football players homeless? No, they're not. All right.
I would like to say that my analogy was great. Yours are all horrible.
No, it's not. You said if a homeless person, they're not homeless. They're literally provided homes.
Yours come out of analogies for anyway.
The point here is, if Caleb Williams...
And why are you yelling?
The point here is, if Caleb Williams was genuinely concerned about money, and it is indeed the number one motivator of college football players, as intentional or not, my man Cole Bryson made it sound just mere moments ago. If that is what you believe, that the problem with college ball right now is that the number one motivator of athletes is money, then would it make sense for a guy like a Caleb Williams to stop developing on the field when he's got an NFL career ahead of him? No.
Is it okay for people to think that way? The way that Cole and a lot of people think, is it okay? Because you're making it sound like it's not okay for them to think that way. I mean, it's going to take them a while to grasp the situation as to what it is now. It's just a business and it's NFL light. But some people want to hold on to used to be. Is it okay for them to think that way? Because you're making it sound like it's not okay, that you're wrong. You need to change your way of thinking to this way of thinking, and you need to do it now and stop crying about the fact that it's not what it used to be.
I'll tell you where the problem comes. It's similar, not exactly the same, but it's similar to what we talked about in the last segment with Zach Edey. Zach Edey making up an imaginary situation in his head in order to drive himself, zero problem with that. Zach Edey making up an imaginary situation in his head and then taking someone down by name to do it, that's where I draw a line. That's where I have a problem, because you're making this guy, Rick Barnes, you're making him look worse for your imaginary situation where you've painted yourself as a victim in a situation of your own making.
It's sports. People call people out in sports. I don't have a problem with it. And he won't be the last guy to call a coach out. When you did this, remember when you didn't draft me number one when you could have, and I'm going to make you pay every time we play you.
But that's a different scenario. I'm talking about when a guy, it would be like this. That would be like if an NFL player, if a college football senior who was going to be a draft pick came out and they're like, hey, Johnny Johnson, you've got the potential to be a first-round pick at quarterback. And he goes, I don't really care about football. You've got a potential to be a first. Yeah, I wish I would have been a hockey player. Yeah, I'm not really worried about winning. I really just want to make some money. Yeah, I don't really care about learning the offense. I really just want to go pad my stats. You think that guy's getting drafted high? No. And if he turns
how
around,
fast is his 40 time?
Let's say it's 3.3.
Well, then he definitely gets drafted.
I'm not saying he doesn't get drafted. I'm saying he's not getting drafted to the first round. If he's going, I don't care about football. I'd rather be a hockey player. I'm in it for the money. I'm in it for the chicks, dude. Then that guy's getting passed on. And if he goes up to the league and he becomes a dude and he ends up being an all-pro, even when he doesn't care, then yeah, at that point he could go, yeah, I could have played for any of you guys. You all passed up on me. It's a different thing when you go, I'm here to win and I'm here to make money too. Like, it's not, I don't know. Is Caleb Williams going to get, did Caleb Williams give up on being a better player? Did Jaden Daniels give up on being a better player? Did Drake May give up on being a better, did all these guys give up on being better players because they got NIL money? I don't think so. Is it a possibility that one of them did? Is a possibility that one of them got the bag from Bob's Used Cars and said, all right, I'm good. I made my life change your money.
Because you don't know that their motivation didn't change. Maybe it's still there, but it's not what it could have been if they were hungry. And the reason why they were so hungry is they needed to get somewhere to get the money so they wouldn't be hungry anymore.
I mean, maybe. But again, the problem I have is not, if you want to call out an individual dude for saying that, fine. Or for doing that, fine. If you want to go, that guy ever since he got the Dr. Pepper NIL money doesn't look like the same guy, then call a guy out. But to me, I just have an issue when people are pinning down an entire sport's worth of athletes when the real issue that they have is, I don't like this thing. I don't like the way this thing goes. Oh, there's no more student athletes anymore. I mean, yeah, there are. They are both students and athletes. That by definition, they are students and they are athletes. Now, you can say there's no more amateurs anymore. You can say there's no more, but even that is untrue because they are still amateurs. They do not get paid for playing football, but we don't need to get bogged down in the lingo. We don't need to get bogged down.
Yeah, because that is a fight that will never go away.
That's
between you and I.
That's fine.
It will never go away. They're absolutely pros.
But utilizing the definitions of the words, no, they're not. But let's say they are. Let's even say that they are. The problem that I have here with my dog, and again, Cole Bryson, love you. I'll be tuned in today as I drive up to Charlotte.
And wow, I mean, I have defended you more today than ever, Cole.
That's true. He has.
You're welcome.
He has. Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel will air from 3 to 7 this and every weekday afternoon right here on the Fan Upstate. Make sure that you are tuned in and listening.
They are not unequally yoked when it comes to this. I believe they both feel the same.
And that's fair. That's fair. For the record, I am a 25% minority in this conversation on this station. I know that. I'm probably a 25% minority in the area when it comes to this. I'm not disagreeing.
The percentage would go down as you add more people in there.
Not necessarily. It's only if they all agreed with you.
It's not me. It's us. And yeah, that's what a majority is. It's a us. It's not a me. Right now, the me is over there on the other side.
Sure thing. So My problem here is it does, and I don't know if this may not even be my my flag to carry into battle, but I'll do it anyway. They may not even care or want it. I'll do it anyway. This may be what some of you would refer to as white knighting, and I accept it. But I have a problem.
What color's your horse?
With an entire generation of athletes being called names, being told that they are lazy, that they are weak, that they are whatever words you're using to describe them, because they have the audacity of cashing in on what they've built by being great, whatever players they are, especially considering the overwhelming majority of them ain't making that kind of scratch. They're just not. The overwhelming majority ain't making that scratch. The 3-star reserved left guard is not making my salary in NIL deals. It's just not happening. The numbers aren't there in any way, shape, or form to suggest that it is. So because of that, when you are taking down an entire generation of athletes by saying, oh, they don't care about getting better anymore. It's all about them now. It's all about themselves now. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, they are going to make more money in a single NFL signing bonus than they will make their entire college football career in NIL. Do you think they don't care about getting better to make sure they get into the draft? Do you think they don't care about being the best football players they can be because a Bryce Young $24 million signing bonus is at the end of that tunnel if they can navigate it? I got a hard time believing they're all laying down. A hard time that Caleb Williams went, yeah, I got $5 million. Who cares about a $24+ million signing bonus? I got $5 million. 24 is bigger than 5. Like by almost 5 times. It's bigger than 5. Seems like he would care. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in a minute, wrap this bad boy up. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Missed it. You know why? Because this one has music on it. Sucks.
All right, guys, stepping away for just a minute. We'll be right back. Yes, it is the Rob Brown Show wrapping up its broadcasting day. Again, I will be out tomorrow. I'll be up in Charlotte tomorrow morning at the Spire Motorsports Garage, checking out some behind the scenes. They're going to be doing some testing on the vehicle, so I'm going to get a chance to watch that, check that out. Good night at Richmond last night. Real interesting night at Richmond last night. It was raining up to the first couple of laps of that race, and NASCAR decided to go ahead with the race anyway. They allowed the cars to strap the rain tires on up front and then make the change back to the regular slicks after the rain let up a little bit. It was kind of a chaotic start to the race, not just the start, but once they had to shift away from the rain tires and over to the slicks, it changed everything up a little bit because the cars obviously drive different. Not only did they change the tires, but Goodyear put on the slicks that they ran this week a little bit more tread. There was less grip than the Reigns, but more grip than there has been in previous races on these same compound tires out of Goodyear. So these drivers were having to really adapt and adjust on the fly. Denny Hamlin ends up with the win, won the race off pit road against his teammate Martin Truex Jr. after a caution with 2 laps to go, won in overtime at Richmond last night. Truex dominated the second half of that race, 288 laps up front, poised to hold off Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, but there was the caution, after Kyle Larson got nudged from behind, skidded into the infield, brought out the caution, and Denny Hamlin was able to get in and out of the pits, which also was interesting because initially the pit stops were non-competitive, which means whatever order you come in pit road, you come off pit road. That meant the pit crews weren't necessarily in their rhythm until they got later in the race. We'll talk more NASCAR later in the week. Lonzo was getting itchy on the button over there.
I really wanted to cut you off, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to end the show that way for today. I will later. All right. The first thing that's Xing is Bray Wyatt.
So Bray Wyatt, not quite a year ago, almost a year ago, we lost Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. And obviously with it being Hall of Fame night on Friday, there were a lot of people that were pushing for a Bray Wyatt induction into the Hall of Fame. They did drop a Bray Wyatt documentary
today.
Today it dropped. So today it drops.
That's why it's Xing. Yes.
Narrated by who else? The Undertaker. But of course that is going to stir the emotions, I think, about a guy that was arguably in his prime when we lost him very much early. Bray Wyatt was, even after the Fiend stuff, a lot of people got stale on that. I freaking loved Bray Wyatt. And on top of that, we recognized and realized we got to watch one of Bray Wyatt's final matches right here in Greenville, South Carolina against L.A. Knight. Yeah.
It was a dark match, and it got to be a Firefly.
Yeah.
The only time ever. Yeah. All right. The next thing that's I'm going to watch that when I go home alone because I don't want to, be crying in front of everybody.
Nothing wrong with being emotional,
yeah,
Lonzo.
Well, it's
you little weirdo.
The next thing that's Xing is Luka Doncic.
Luka.
Nobody's perfect, but I am very, very close.
Luka Doncic hit not one but 2 wild shots. One in pregame warmups when he threw a basketball off the scoreboard, not like the big one up at center court. Threw a basketball off the scoreboard and banked it in. And then in the game, got fouled, realized he did not have the ball in a shooting position. So what did he do? Underhand scoops the ball and makes a 3 on an underhand granny one-hander. This guy is a walking cheat code.
Then laughs on his way back, which he should.
Yeah, what the hell am I? I'm making it. You know what it was? It was the equivalent of Jordan's shoulder shrug to Spike Lee after he hit three-pointer number 18.
It's like, this year more than any other year, it looks like he's having fun and he's getting better, which is, you didn't think that was possible, but apparently it is. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Roman Reigns.
There's also a Roman Reigns documentary that is either out or coming out.
It was last night.
Came out last night?
Yeah, I recorded it. I haven't watched it yet.
I have met ever so briefly in passing most of that family. They're all from around the Pensacola area where I come from. I have met the Usos. I've met Roman in passing. This was years ago before he was the big dog. Dude, he's a super nice guy. Like, super nice guy. This is why I think Roman deserves more credit for the work that he's putting in right now, because it's always been interesting. I got the opportunity to be a professional wrestler for like a week one time, and they made me a face, and it was a blast. I've always wanted to be a heel. My biggest problem has always been, how mean can I get before Rob Brown starts getting mad at the character Rob Brown's playing as a bad guy? Roman is one of the nicest people I've ever met. So for him to turn in this level of performance as a heel is just remarkable. Then you talk about the fact that he had to go through cancer and all that and beat it to come back. Incredible story.
I don't know. Heel Rob was in full effect today, and hopefully he'll be mad at himself later. And finally, it's April Fool's Day. People, don't get got. Do not get got.
Don't get got. But if you're doing the getting, not the get gotten, please make your joke good. All right, no crap pranks. Crap pranks.
Literally, none of those either.
Yeah. That's good enough for me. I can leave it right there. That's it for us. Off tomorrow. See you back here on Wednesday, where we will try harder to be better on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate later. Yeah. Bang. We made it, everybody. Good job. Johnny Johnson with a higher grade than Tommy Thompson. That is correct. Tommy's overrated. Not a great reader of the defense.
Rob's going to be in Charlotte. Going to be up, down in Charlotte.
Correct. I will be in Charlotte, North Carolina tomorrow. Going to Spire Motorsports to check out the garage.
There was a referee one time in one of Charlotte's matches. Come on now, Charlotte. Come on, Charlotte.
I don't think I'm going to give up on my dream of being a professional wrestling referee. I can't decide if I'd rather be like, if you got the option right now.
If you go down to do the 3 count, can you get back up?
Yeah, I did it on the ice for a Swamp Rabbits game last year.
All right.
Here's my question. I'm going to give you an opportunity. You have 2 choices to make here. You can be a referee at the WWE, or you can be a valet for like a not small, but like a more local indie organization. You can be a mic work guy for a local group, or you can be a ref for the biggest organization. Where are you going?
Do I get to wear a costume?
You're a valet. You whatever you make.
Okay, well, I'm doing that. I'm doing that because I can have. There's a lot more freedom in that, and I think you have a lot more fun. Referee, you're confined. You're in a box. There's only so much you can do.
But you can be a ref who takes bumps and gets involved.
They don't do that too much anymore. But I'm going with the valet because I could blow dry my hair and have it full out and be wearing some sort of sparkly Rob Brown jacket. Oh man, I could have a lot of fun.
I would 100% wear the sparkly jacket if I was good at valet. All right, dudes and dudettes, that's it for us. Y'all have a great Tuesday. We will see you back here on Wednesday. Don't drink and drive, punch you in the face, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You're all spectacular people. Love you. Goodbye.